Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 354. Tara Miller, the disc golf guy, alongside Johnny V.
Just 354 more to go, too.
Yeah, and then we hit that magic number of 708.
I mean, that's what every podcast strives for.
Well, we are so glad you guys are here tonight. I think we've got a first-timer.
We do.
It's going to be exciting. In just a few moments, actually, she's going to be joining us. That, of course, being our FPO champion from the Resistance Disc Open this weekend. Of course, I'm talking about Deann Carey. She'll be checking in with us, of course, as we're just leading into the World Championships in the next few days.
Really, the important thing is, though, can she supply us with jerky?
No. Well, maybe.
Maybe she can. I don't know. Because our second guest of the night, Double G, he's got himself some jerky that I've yet to be able to try.
Oh, it's so delicious. I've had all four flavors extensively. I'm excited for the fifth one, but I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Or as my daughter talked about last night, she thought that the jerky was instead Tide Pods because it has a similar color scheme. And you know what? She's not wrong. The packaging could confuse our young generation of snack eaters. But anyway, what's really important, though, is, yes, we're going to have Deann. Then we're going to talk to Double G. Of course, we're also just a few days away from the World Championships and all the excitement that's going to go along with that. And I think, without further ado, we're going to get right to it because you know how prompt and courteous and timely and
prepared and
all of those things. That's what we do here at Smashbox. Well, coming in from our Disc Baron Digital Green Room, of course, Deann Carey. Hello, Deann.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a little hot right now, but other than that, it's fine.
Let's start there because last week I think we were probably complaining how warm it was in Wisconsin, but now things are very mild here. However, out in Utah, not quite the same story, huh? Break down the weather for us.
We're not even in Utah yet, but we're a couple hours outside of Utah, so we're in Idaho. And it's 95 here right now. And I think it was like 102, 103 in Utah today.
Yeah, I've been kind of watching that and then anticipation of what next week's going to be like and starting to look at some of the details and seeing that it's warm out there. So the question we have to ask is it a dry heat? Does it feel sticky or does it feel like it's just really warm?
Nothing compared to North Carolina. Definitely dry out here.
Yeah, that's like a wet heat. I mean, it's like a sauna in North Carolina at times.
Well, so maybe that won't be as bad, but warm in June, prepping for this week. Let's backtrack a little bit. And first of all, congratulations. Awesome performance as you dominated every possible category this weekend on UDisc and then some. But let's talk about the weather as to what you were just in. And for those who didn't see all of rounds 1 and 2, they saw the downpour and the constant rain in 3, I should say. How would you describe the overall weather and the experience out there this weekend?
I play in the rain a good bit in tournaments, so it's not something that I wasn't accustomed to. But the first day the women got no rain. I think the men got a few holes of rain, but we lucked out and didn't get any. The second day it was beautiful, and then the third day it was just, there was no denying we were getting hit with rain.
Yeah, it rained that entire round.
I was just going to say, was there any chance of it letting up? Were you guys thinking, or no, you're just like, nope, we're buckling up for this?
In the morning before I teed off, I thought it was going to be like the first day. Like it might stop, but then it kept getting heavier and heavier. And I was like, well, it's not going to stop. And it didn't stop for the rest of the day.
All right. Well, let's get into let's get into your backstory a little bit because, again, I don't think we've had you here, or if we have, it's been years. Let's start with your backstory. Getting into golf, where was that? When was that? Like, what was some of your introduction to golf?
I think I started playing disc golf late 2013, early 2014. in North Carolina. So AJ, my husband, played for a year before I even played,
Okay.
and I did not like disc golf.
And you guys were already dating when he started it. So he stumbled upon it first, or was introduced to it, and then he presented it to you, and you're like, nah.
Yeah, he played ultimate in high school, and after that club kind of whittled away, they installed a 9-hole disc golf course,
Mm.
and him and some friends would just go out and play casually. And then when we graduated high school and he started college, he got more into the tournament side of it. And then it took me to even get into it.
Uh, what kept you away from it? As in, like, what wasn't the appeal? What were some of the things that didn't appeal to you?
I've never played any sports besides disc golf. So not having a sports background or anything, I'm like, oh, it's just one more thing. I don't really want to do that with him. So I'm like, oh, this is fun, but if I'm gonna walk it, I'm gonna play.
Yeah, and it feels like a lot of people get introduced that way, and more often than not, it's men that play, and then wives or girlfriends, I'll say, at first tag along, and then thankfully, like yourself, you say, well, yeah, if I'm going to do that, give me a disc. I want to I want to do this myself. So that's good. And then when did you feel like you experienced, and especially not having a sport background, but did you feel like you experienced a little success, or was it just a lot of fun? What was it about it that kind of, kept you hooked?
Well, okay, so I told him I would play if he got me a lightweight pink disc. So he
Okay.
got it for me, and I started playing. And I think the first week that I started playing, he was going to a tournament at the IDGC in Georgia that weekend. And I was like, hey, can I go? And he was like, yeah. And I said, but I want to play. So the first week I ever picked up a disc, I played a tournament at the IDGC, came in second place out of two people, but
Nice. Yeah.
and then ever since I've just have a tournament aspect, the competing side and everything.
That's awesome, and again, I feel like it's kind of rare that if you had no other sporting background in terms of things you were deeply passionate or involved with from a sports side, to see you then enter the game at that stage in your life and then take to it as much as you did, I think is really awesome. Now, one of the first times I think I met you would have been probably the 2017 Worlds. Am Worlds
Hmm.
in the Quad Cities. Of course, AJ went on to win that, and you performed pretty well there as well, didn't you? Or
I
did,
believe I got sixth place.
okay. Yep.
Um, I was on lead card in the semifinal round. I think I was one or two strokes away from making it into the final four, but I was very glad that I didn't because I actually got to watch AJ win. So that was very nice.
It was. I so distinctly recall the final hole, the little shot over the kind of the blind hill, and then everybody parked it, and some impressive finish. And next thing you know, I recall talking to AJ's dad being there. Yeah, it was a very cool moment. Part of what keeps me so excited about seeing our new players come into the sport is those crowning moments and achievements. But then the very next year, you yourself, playing in North Carolina, had a very solid week. However, a few other
Hmm.
really solid players were in your way there as well, right? Can you break down what happened?
Yeah, I wasn't as happy in 2017 with how I finished, but I knew 2018 was coming to Charlotte, and I had to play it. AJ won the tournament, so he moved up to pro. But I was like, it's coming to Charlotte. I have to give it one more chance. And I shredded the Reedy Creek round in the semifinals to tie first place going into the final nine. And then the Mandahano sisters they're so good.
They're very good.
Yes, and I do recall I was there filming the finals for that as well, and so just clearly so much talent there by so many of you, and I remember thinking like watching the dominance shift around the course and knowing that I've seen them perform well at other world championships, juniors or AMs or whatever the case might be. We have these pockets, and real quick, I knew that it was a really solid competition that you were up against in 2017. The people that came in front of you the year before include Heather Zimmerman, Haley King, Missy Gannon, Sarah Gilpin, and Lauren Butler, all of which are professionals, all of which have gone on and also had and have good professional or great professional FPO career. So, I mean, it's crazy to look at that list and be like, I know every one of them and just how good they are. So you were up against, stiff competition there as well. So let's move into this specific weekend. I feel like we've been talking about your name more and more lately, and you're clearly performing well. But then you move into this weekend, and you don't come in as the highest rated player, but you still come in, and it feels like you just like hit the ground running. Like, was there anything not going well for you?
So right before OTB Open, I really changed up my form, and I've been working on that and critiquing that for the past few weeks. And I feel like I've really dialed it down. And I was even talking to Kona Panis before this past weekend. I was actually talking to her in Portland, and I was talking about my form and how good it felt. And I was like, I really think I have a shot to win this tournament. And so it's just great to see that it actually came true.
Yeah, well, it clearly, visualizing and manifesting and thinking, the positive things can all come to fruition. You talk about OTB, and I look at, obviously you've had some really solid performances this year. I see the Lone Star was where you had finished in 7th. And then I also see 6th place finish at one of the other Silver Series events. OTB, you finished in 17th, and then at the women's championships, you finished in 17th. 9th place in Portland. I mean, am I wrong in that since since you just mentioned OTB, you've cashed obviously in 3 out of your 4 events, but those are some of your best finishes and some of your biggest paychecks.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot more confident with just how I'm throwing. I can really throw, I would say, about 30 to 40 more feet since I've changed my form. That's helped a lot. And then I've gotten approach disc, and so I'm dialing that thing in, and it's making me get closer to the basket than I was.
So break down, because now the next obvious question is, what did you do if you feel like you've gained 30 to 40 feet? Everybody wants to say, well, then what did she do? What did she fix? What did she address? Can you pinpoint exactly what you feel like has been the difference to gain a little more distance?
I stopped rounding and actually started reaching back and away from my body than behind me.
Okay.
Are you sure? Because I think the internet, it's just a new disc. Everybody gets a new disc, and that's what it is. It's that special disc that's like 50 feet to your drive.
Hey, well, I did get a Shrike at Lone Star Classic that I've been throwing ever since then, and I've been throwing it pretty far.
Everybody knows the Shrike only adds 40 feet, not 50. So.
See, so it is the form a little bit.
It's the form. It's definitely a little.
The form is working.
Okay, so with regard to your form, then, was that something that was in slow-mo on a phone that you recorded? Was that something that somebody pointed out to you? Like, how did you arrive at, hey, this is what I'm doing wrong? And then, how did you address it?
My wonderful husband has been telling me that I've been rounding for years, and I just now listened.
Okay. So the truth comes out. I was just going to say, I feel like that wouldn't be something you just noticed like last week. Were you in denial? Were you in denial, or did you just...
Basically, yes. I was like, no, it's working. It's fine.
And then how weird does that feel? Because I feel like, when you're throwing a certain way for so long and that's become your style or your habit or your form or your routine, to change that up, how weird does that feel to you?
It's very weird because I've been throwing that same way since 2014. And so to just change it ever since all of that, it's a lot. It took a lot of thinking about. And so, like, every time I threw, I had to really focus on, hey, keep that shoulder back, stand up straight. And then, but now, since I've done it so much, I can do it without even really thinking about it. I don't go back to my old form. I mean, I might every once in a while by accident, but typically I've been doing the new form and it's been working pretty well.
Wow, that is awesome. Johnny's pulled up some stats thanks to UDisc. What, I think we already said it. She dominated everything.
No,
no,
not in parked percentage. She took second in
Not
parked.
everything.
She hit first in
I got
fairway
some
hits.
seconds and thirds.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You're lying. You got 1 second. You hit first in fairway hits, first in circle 1 in regulation, first in circle 2 in regulation, first in birdie, first in scramble, first in C1X putts, first in circle 2 putts, second in parked.
Oh my God.
Who got first in park?
I honestly, I'm not sure. I'd have to probably dig
That's what
those
I wanna
stats
know.
out.
I'm gonna have to look at that.
Score to settle. She's got a score to settle.
Yeah, literally. I think you could, if you hover over the blue section, does it tell you? Or if you click on it, will it tell you? No, I thought it did. All right. Well, we'll hunt down what woman dare challenged you. One thing I did notice, and I think it was during the final round commentary, I brought it up that it feels like, well, it doesn't feel like, it shows you had more birdies than
Kelsey Heaton.
Oh, Kelsey.
She took circle, or she took the park.
You were what was it? Do you feel like it was your putting, or were you just putting yourself in good position? How were you capturing more birdies than everyone else? I know that sounds like maybe a silly question, but I don't think it is. What was your key to success? Do you feel like it was your putting,
Honestly,
or your driving, or your like what?
It was really everything. On the par threes, I was either putting them under the basket or within the circle within, like, I know that I can make those putts. And then on being safe and really getting as close to the basket as I can. But I felt like it was more of the drives over putting because I felt like, yeah, I made a good bit of circle 2 putts for birdies, but most of my birdies were within, or I felt like they were anyway.
So they were within what?
I felt like they were in 25 to 20 feet.
Okay.
But they might have been closer.
It looks like, based on the UDisc stats, that your gained tee to green was 12.39 better than the field. So that shows that is. I mean, you also had nine strokes gained on putting. So ultimately, it was a combination of both. But really, you picked up a lot of strokes from tee to green, is what it looks like. So there you go.
Here you go into the final round. You have, what was it, an 11-stroke lead?
12.
12? Okay. Sorry.
12 strokes.
Sorry. You have 12 strokes. Clearly that's comfortable, but crazy weather, crazy course, tons of OB, water, rain, everything that could come after you. At what point were you truly comfortable? Like, all right, I got this. This is wrapped up.
Before I teed off, somebody asked me if I was just trying to coast. And I said, no, I'm going to double the lead.
Okay.
I didn't end up doing that, but I wanted to.
Sure.
And I was playing fairly solid until the back nine. But honestly, I don't really think there was a time that actually comfortable with it, because I know it's pouring rain. Trojan is the every trouble you can get into. So it wasn't really in the bag per se, but I just was like, well, let me just play the best that I can. Other people are going to make mistakes, and then we'll see what happens.
I mean, honestly, you were playing very well. You had that hiccup on hole 15 where you just, you OB a few times.
A few times.
Three. You disc says 3. All right, 3 times. And you took a triple bogey on that particular hole. But other than that, I mean, you had a very you started out the first 14 holes pretty solid.
Yeah, I feel like I had to put at least one triple bogey each round in there, just for good measure.
It's usually
just
how
to
I
keep
do it
yourself
too.
grounded.
That's how I do
like,
it.
all right, I gotta stay humble. I gotta stay humble. I can destroy most of this course, but I'm gonna let one hole or two bite me here.
Yeah.
Again, it keeps you hungry for the next time. What did you think about the course in terms of how it challenged not just you, but does it challenge the field appropriately? Would you love to see to go back there? Would you not mind not seeing it for a few years? And it's that's not meant to lead it to any kind of derogatory things. But do you like the course?
I love the course.
Okay.
I love Oregon. That's my favorite to go to. But the course is great because, especially the FPO layout that we played. I
Okay.
really enjoyed it because it's very challenging, but it's not out of reach for your top caliber players. Like, you can still put out really good scores out there. But then if you're not hitting your landing zones and doing what you the numbers can add up really quick.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of OB on that course. I think they said water on 12 of the holes at Trojan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if there's not water, there's concrete or other stuff that's out of bounds.
Exactly. Yeah, there's other spots to find the OB. That course is 7,562 feet for the women. So not too bad. Good. I think that's a pretty good distance, I think, for a Silver Series event. That's like a pretty solid course without making any sacrifices.
Yeah, so you're taking that, and now as you're saying, you're finding your way over to Utah. I assume you'll be there sometime tomorrow. What's the game plan rolling into the World Championships? Have you seen the fort? Have you seen Mulligan's? Like, what's your game plan?
Actually, when we were driving from Kansas to California, we took a week and stayed in Ogden and practiced for Worlds before, so we didn't have to rush here after Resistance. But I like both of the courses. Mulligan's, I feel like, is gonna be like Trojan. And honestly, the fort too. They're both kind of play similar, except for the fort is definitely more wooded. But there's still water and hazard on every hole, almost. And so I'm kind of going into the same mindset that I was playing Trojan into the Worlds. Just play it, keep fairway, get your pars and your birdies when you can.
Do you whether it's from this last weekend's success or your newfound form and the just overall changes that you've had, do you put any expectations on yourself going into a World Championships this week or next week, I should say? Whether it's a finish or a stat or anything, is there anything that you really kind of expect for yourself?
I do have some good momentum going into Worlds with the win from this last weekend. But honestly, at the bigger, even the DGPT events, my goal has been top 10. Because I feel like if I'm getting top 10 with the best women in the world, then I'm doing pretty good. And so I'm probably going to stick to that top 10. I don't want to narrow it down to I want top 5. I just want to see top 10. And then if I do better, of course, I'm going to strive to do my best. But
okay, I think having realistic expectations without putting too much pressure on yourself, I just overall I feel like makes a lot of sense. A lot of people get really hung up on a specific number or a place, and I mean, you're striving, you want some goals, of course, but you also don't want to be stressing yourself out, overnight.
Yeah.
There's literally probably 2, maybe 3 women in the field that will go into this event and just say, first is the goal, period. If I don't get that out,
Exactly.
I have let myself down. Other than that, I think everybody has a chance to get up there and just kind of get one of those top 5 or top 10 finishes.
This will be my 3rd world championship, so I am championship, and so I'm definitely shooting for top 10 for the past ones.
Now, one of the comments that I had made and then quickly found myself correcting this weekend was that in looking at your wins and then your overall caching, of course, we're seeing a lot more money in the FPO field than ever before, which I'm excited to see. But to see that this weekend you ultimately took home $1,100, which I just saw this afternoon was posted. Your other previous 4-digit check being $1,175, I believe, at last year's Pro Tour Championships.
Mm-hmm.
How exciting is that to be seeing these paychecks and being on the road and traveling and knowing that disc golf is a career and it's a viable career? Of course, you're always trying to get better and make more money, but how exciting is that to see this kind of money and this kind of advancement in our sport?
It's very exciting. Even I've been on tour for 3 years now, and ever since the start of our first year on tour, the changed drastically. And it's great because now, especially with how high the payouts are now, it's definitely makes it more affordable for us to be on the road and to do this full time.
Yeah, I think I'll follow that up by saying, I think back to, it was only it was within our lifetime, me and Johnny here, our playing days, that you could win a world championships and not win $1,100 like you just did this weekend. So the fact that, to me, that says something about our growth. Of course, we'd love more and we want those purses to continue to grow. But the fact that you had, roughly 10 or 11 or a dozen or so women this weekend, you're at a B tier, which is a Silver Series event, and you're still making $1,100. I do think is just exciting for the reason you just mentioned. It that can help either put or keep people on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know if I said it out loud, but I certainly was maybe wondering it at least Sunday. What's the celebration for you and AJ? He also had a good weekend. Your husband
took 17th, I believe.
Was that what it was? Okay.
7th.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm sorry, 7th. Yeah, 7th.
I was going to say that's why I paused. I'm like, I think he was way up there.
7th.
So a solid weekend for the pair of you. What was Sunday night celebration or Monday's fun day? What did that consist of?
On the way back home, I said, I want pizza.
Okay.
So and then went back to, we were staying at Alex Russell's house for the week. So we went back and celebrated with them. Just hung out, really. And then yesterday, we didn't really do much, just slow rolled it. And then today, we went to a aircraft museum today, though.
Okay. So, really letting your mind and body do a little bit of relaxing. Is that a staple?
Yeah,
do you guys make a conscious effort to do that?
We do. Usually, and every week is different. So it depends on how much practice time we have for the tournament and everything. But we usually try to either take Mondays or Thursdays off. Mondays, if it's a long travel day, we typically do stuff other than disc golf. But we practice in, and then the day before the tournament, we really like to take that day off and don't do disc golf, just get our minds right, let our body relax, because that's very important. If you do not take that time off, then you're going to burn out very quickly or you're going to get injured.
Mm-hmm. Or both.
Yeah.
What if you weren't on the road playing disc golf as a full-time career right now, what do you think you'd be doing? Like if disc golf, I always say if disc golf didn't exist, whether it's passions or careers or jobs or part-time, full-time, whatever the case might be, what would you be doing?
Well, whenever we graduated high school, I got my CNA certification. So
Okay.
I was a certified nursing assistant. So I did that and worked in the medical field, was a house secretary for the surgical department for a couple of years. I've just been in the medical field for about 6 years before we went on the road, I think. And then I was a dialysis tech. And then last off season, I worked in a bakery. And fun fact about me is I love to bake.
Okay.
And ever since I was little, it's been a dream of mine to own a bakery. And so that was pretty cool to get to do that. So probably something in between those two lines.
Okay. And then I got to follow that up with what's the go-to? Like if you had to, whether it was for a president or whomever, if you had to make your best possible baked item for somebody because you're impressing them or winning them over or trying to win an award, whatever the case is, what's the go-to item? And why don't I have one?
My personal favorite is a cake with whipped icing. But if I was making something for someone to impress them, I would probably make my cream cheese stuffed cupcake.
Wow.
Easy, Terry.
Wow. All right.
She may not have access to an oven at World, so you can probably
Actually, I have an oven in my van.
Yeah, okay. All right. I just need to know the campground or wherever I'm stopping by.
He's going to bring groceries. Like, oh, look what I happen to find.
Are these all the ingredients you might need?
Hey, at some tournaments, I do make cookies for my friends.
Okay.
That's a good way to get in with your card mates. I mean, in case a call gets is close, you know, hey, remember the cookies I brought on hole one?
Yeah, you have some chocolate chips on your on your lip there.
Is that really on
that?
the line? I mean, it's got to be close.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, cookie bribery seems very, very appropriate. Well,
I like her meals better than beef jerky. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. That beef jerky is pretty good.
Okay, so I got to ask then, what's your favorite of now the 5 flavors?
The smashed pepper.
The
smashed cracked pepper.
The one I haven't had
so
yet.
Good.
All right. Well, I'm excited. Double G better have some with him. I assume he does when I get out to Utah in a few days. I'm gonna have to hunt down my first pack of that for sure. So, you had pizza. You can bake. Anything out of the ordinary for this upcoming week at the Worlds? Is there? You know, some people I know will, you know, get a hotel even though they normally are in a van or whatever. But is there anything out of the ordinary that you guys will do that will take Worlds to another level in terms of the prep or the execution?
Not really. I mean, we have an RV park. That was the one thing that I really wanted for Worlds was just that spot that we could just pretty much hang out and do whatever we wanted. So we did get an RV spot for the week.
Okay.
And then really, we don't have anything planned except for practicing mixed doubles and then hanging out by the pool all week.
That sounds
supposed to be a warm one. So.
Yeah, that sounds like a really solid plan. And then the other thing that you guys do quite frequently is you ride some bikes, don't you? When does that when does that kind of get worked into in between events and such? Like what prompts bike riding for you guys? And I think you guys sometimes join other couples, but what usually prompts that?
Monday fun days.
Okay.
If we're passing through the area and we find a good trail, or if we're in a town like Emporia has a bunch of mountain biking trails, and also we stay at our host house, keep the van there, and then just ride our bikes everywhere.
That's pretty sweet.
is that, like, I think last year at the preserve, we stayed on site and we just took our bikes and rode them to hole one before we teed off.
And
so it just depends on usually Monday fun days and if we're just going through an area with a cool trail.
Nice. And I was just going to say, that's exactly where I think about seeing you guys last year. There's your whole biker gang that you guys had out there. I don't know what
riding up to take showers.
Yeah. And just everybody out at the preserve, on the
Mm-hmm.
bikes, getting work done. All right. I don't know if I've got much else for you. I want to make sure that you're good and rested, that you guys are traveling safe. Is there before we give
7 days, 6 days technically?
Yeah, before you get to all the sponsors type stuff, which we want you to do though, is there anything else we're missing after such a big performance and a big week? Is there any words of wisdom or insight or just overall I don't know, advice you have for anyone?
Don't give up. One day it'll happen. You just got to keep pushing.
I love and appreciate that. All right. Well, with all of that, why don't you go ahead, shout out your sponsors, tell everybody how they can find you on social medias, how can they support you? Go ahead, give us the full plugs.
Well, thanks to Innovadisc. Of course, mom's been there for me for 3 years. It's been great. This year I just picked up Upper Park Disc Golf.
Mm-hmm.
And amazing. If anybody wants to get an Upper Park bag, you can use my code DN10 and get 10% off.
Okay.
Also, Instagram, The Real Deann Carey, and Facebook is Deann Carey as well. I do have some Tour Series discs of my fundraiser stamp left. And so people can hit me up if they want to get any of those. We'll have some at Worlds, and then we ship them out as well.
Awesome. Well, definitely people should be checking all that out, and also finding you on the socials. And were you flooded? I have to assume you were just absolutely inundated and flooded with. And have you gotten to them all? I mean, it's Tuesday. Have you gotten to all of the accolades and the congratulations yet?
So definitely on Sunday, I had to turn my phone off.
Okay.
Could not during the round. And then for the past 2 days, literally right now, I'm looking on my iPad and just Instagram after Instagram notification is popping up. But, I think I have gotten back to everyone that has messaged me so far. I am not completely sure.
Sorry, you cut out, but I think you were saying that you feel like you've gotten back to pretty much everybody, and if you haven't, maybe you got a few more hours left on the road tomorrow that you might be able to. But that's there could be worse things in life.
That's the weight of winning.
Yeah, exactly. Not a bad one, huh?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, Deanne. Well, I'm going to see you and AJ and the rest of the crew all in the next couple of days. I'm looking forward to watching your journey for you guys to take on another World Championships. Congratulations again. It was truly an honor. I love those. These are some of the moments that I cherish so much, to see someone like you and AJ both have your performances at a World Championships, and then a few years later seeing you taking down a Silver Series event. Like those, believe it or not, those are things that really stick with me as well, even just as a fan and as a media guy. It's really awesome seeing that progression in your career and in your life, and to see you and AJ out on the road and enjoying life the way you guys do. It's very satisfying, even just as a media guy. So nice work. Congratulations.
Well done.
And we wish you the best, and we're looking forward to a solid performance at the World Championships next week.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course.
Thanks
All
a lot,
right,
Deanne.
All right, Deanne. Have a good night. We'll see you in a couple days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's always fun, as I say every time, to have a new person on that we haven't had on Smashbox, and Deanne's been doing, playing a lot lately and playing very well. So that is very exciting to see, and she seems like she's just a pleasant person.
She's always great. I don't think I've ever seen her mad.
Well,
Yeah, let's put it this way. If she has been and I've been around her, I don't remember it. So that to me is a good sign as well. So awesome to see. And again, congratulations. We can also carry that right into, congratulations to Jeff Corns and just the whole crew doing the work to make the Resistance Disc Open happen in the way which it did. And I know there were a lot of people, I'm sure I don't even know all of them, but I know there were a lot of people that really had to get things together so that an event could happen, so that we could be out there at Trojan Park. And it, of course, brought back a number of memories after seeing it, but then being there in the 2014 Worlds. And that's the first time I've really had any tie back to that course since then. And so it was a lot of fun to be able to call the shots. And huge shout out to, I'll say, all the Disc Golf Pro Tour ground crew. I think of Sam and Cam, Evan, just anyone that's on the ground, and Brian and all of those guys that were on the ground setting up the assets and then playing, experiencing that entire round of play in the rain. Nobody looks forward to that.
No, they said they were prepped for it, which is good. And Sam, our head camera guy on the ground, he'd even said that it wasn't too bad, because it's not like you get caught in the middle of the round. They went
True.
in knowing what to expect, what they were getting into, and so they made the best of it. Not that anyone wants to be in that, but at least if you're prepped, it's a little bit easier.
That's very true. Making it so much more tolerable, rather than you're out there and all of a sudden on hole 3 something rolls in that nobody was expecting. That's when things can be far less pleasant. So being all geared up and ready to go, like the crew was, so awesome. Big shout out, big thanks to Dynamite for being around for both MPO and FPO action, so that he could help call the shots. I love sitting next to, I say it all the time, I love sitting next to just about anybody. Almost anybody. And calling shots. But it was great to have Dana.
Double G is messaging that he's ready when we are, but real quick before we get to Double G, I want to kind of go through the rest of the Open women's field there, as obviously having our winner on tonight. Deann Carey wins by shooting a +5. Her round ratings were 968, 986, and 944. Oh. So she shot like 50 points above her rating on average about. Second place was Brittany Quisenberry. She shot +20. Shooting 950, 893, and 928. Third place, Kat Murch. Fourth place, Kira Alexander. And fifth place, Sarah Taylor. So congratulations to the top 5 women. And before we get Double G on, let's just quick run through the MPO as well, because we got other things to talk to about Double G. Adam Hammis, Wisconsin guy here. He wins, taking home $2,600. He's been doing very well. Very, very, very well in the last couple of weeks. Scott Withers takes second place there. Scott is from Oregon, so kind of a regular. He's done very well at that course for the Oregon Championships. Is that what it was? Quite frequently?
That sounds
the state
right.
championships or something along those lines. Third place, Jeremy Coling. Fourth place, Nate Sexton. Tied with Tim Barham. Sixth place, Ben Calloway. Again, another guy who's just, been playing lights out these last few weeks. Excited to see how he does at World. Seventh place, Chris Nelson, tied with AJ Carey. Not 17th, but 7th. I had seen it earlier, and then it came up in my head, I was like, 17th? 7th? Well, whatever. Ninth place, Andrew Marweed and Alex Russell. So congratulations to those top 10 finishers.
Very, very nice. And yeah, just having Adam a couple weeks ago after winning Masters Cup, I had him on the show when I was alone actually a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, that's like Paige and Paul, and Ricky type stats, where it's like, if you win too often and you win too close to one another, you don't get to keep coming back every single week. We're gonna skip you once in a while, and that's a good problem for Adam to have, be the winner twice in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks. So congratulations, of course, to him. He said his game's feeling good and couldn't pick a better time for it to be doing so. So, all right, I think you've got Double G. If we can pull him in, we could then welcome him. We'll see if we can get him dialed up in the green room.
Yeah, we're dialing him up, getting him in the green room. He said he was ready.
Did you switch all your other things you need to switch now that we're going over to the Skype mechanisms?
The last call we had with Deann was on our internal vMix call, which I think always has a little bit better audio quality than Skype. Deanne was on Wi-Fi, so every once in a while we got a little bit of a glitch there, but we're moving over to Skype, which is where Double G has landed himself. So we're just dialing him up right now, so hopefully we can get us some Double G action.
All right, good to go. I'm going to double check. Pick up the Skypers.
And I can always he can always use the other call link if we need to as well.
All right, we'll see if we can get him. So, yes, see a bunch of you out on the board. Thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. I'm going to see if I can read a few comments that have come in. In other news, non-disc golf related news, as we speak, right? The Milwaukee Buckaroos are, is that their term? The Buckaroos?
They're not called the Buckaroos. I believe they're just called the Bucks.
Okay.
And they're currently down
100 to 104 to the Brooklyn
3 minutes to go.
Fishnets. Oh,
Yes.
Nets.
Yes.
Just Nets.
Brooklyn Fish Nets. I think that's
Yes, so for those who care, I'm not a big enough fan to care if it's not obvious. But yes, it looks like they're in the playoffs. Is that what they call those?
This is the second round. This is
Ooh.
the Eastern Conference.
All right, just 3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Should we do play-by-play for that?
I don't think anybody wants that.
I clearly know the game. That Greek freak feller play for us still?
He does.
See? I know all the right peeps.
You do.
I don't know if yeah.
Could you name one player on the Nets?
Nope. I couldn't name another Buck.
Okay.
I don't think I can even pronounce his name either, but that I don't feel is alone in.
No.
But yeah, I couldn't name a single other Buckaroo.
James Harden. He's on the Nets now.
Oh.
He was traded there.
Yeah, I mean,
Kyrie
big
Irving?
Rocket.
He's on
Okay.
the Nets now.
I wouldn't have known that.
Kevin Durant.
No, he's not. Really? No way. All three of those people? Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, I couldn't. Here's the funny part, and I know we sometimes dip into yesterdecade. Was there ever a famous net from back when I would have collected cards or cared about basketball? Was there one in the 90s or at all?
Wait, say that again?
Was there ever? Well, I guess it's a different team. I was thinking of the New Jersey Nets. Didn't they used to be the New Jersey Nets?
Yeah, but
And now they're not because 50 Cent owns them or something.
no, because Brooklyn is
P. Diddy?
a bigger market, and they will probably get a better deal on something or other if they're in Brooklyn as opposed to New Jersey.
No, I get all that,
basically.
but I'm saying back in the 90s when I collected and still have basketball cards, I don't know if I could, when I cared about basketball, I still don't know if I could name a player from that
Nets.
era on that team.
I don't think I could either.
Okay. So I'm not that crazy. It's like worrying about the Cleveland Browns, right?
The Browns are actually
No,
decent
30
now.
years ago.
Oh, well, they've been bad for 30 years up until this past
Exactly.
year. Here is a call from Double G.
Wow.
This is great. We are line.
I'm going to get some real hate here from all my
I know.
lack of knowledge, but what's new?
Exactly.
I mean, what hasn't happened? All right.
I should have thrown someone other than Kevin Durant at you and seeing if you'd been like, no, really? Is he? And no, but Kevin Durant is on the Nets, so
Wow, good for him.
it's a tough trio to beat.
Clearly.
So
I hear they're good.
speaking of a tough guy to beat,
All right, welcoming in from the Disc Baron Digital Green Room, bringing some boom sauce and some other stuff. Double G, Garrett Gurthie.
What's
How you
happening,
doing, buddy?
everybody?
How you doing?
Double G?
Pretty good. I could barely hear you guys, to be honest, right now. So I'm gonna do my best to hang in there for a few minutes.
Okay. We'll try and yell at you. So we were just talking to Deanne. I believe you go out and ride bikes with that crew every once in a while. You part of what's the gang's name? Your biker gang?
Well, unfortunately, our bikes got stolen at Vegas.
Okay.
So
but before
we
that,
are in works for new bikes for next year to be involved with that crew.
okay.
Sounds like we need a bike sponsor. Trek is a Wisconsin company out of Madison. Come on, Trek. Let's get on this.
Those are the bikes that we had stolen from us, actually. I had a Trek Roscoe 8, and Jessica had a Marlin 5. we were staying in Vegas. They just got ripped off. There was a bike event going on in town. We were just there at the wrong time. So, we're still looking up on the positive side.
Yeah. Sounds like you have a bad Trek record.
No.
That's a good one, Terry.
No, it's not. Don't encourage him, Double G. No.
Oh, so easy. All right. Well, of course, we're sorry to hear about.
A quick shout out to a lady that reached out to us from Dick's Sporting Goods. She heard Jeremy Coling on video give a shout out saying that our bikes got stolen, and she actually sent me $1,000 in gift cards to Dick's Sporting Goods. And I heard that Alden Harris got his bike stolen, so I ended up giving him one of my gift cards to help him get in some new wheels from Dick's Sporting Goods. So we want to thank her. We'll keep her name silent for now, but some lady up there in the Dick's Sporting Goods, we appreciate you very much.
Wow.
That's great.
That is, I mean, obviously that's terrible to happen, but so great that, that just proves about our disc golf community, and it proves, I think, the overall presence of our disc golfers that, you guys have, there's so many other passions and things that help keep you grounded and normal and excited off the course. And so to have something like bikes and bike riding all be one of those other activities, and then to have somebody additionally want to support that's incredible. So, yeah, very cool. And I know, I'll say this, I know not only does Dick's sell some discs, but they also have supported tournaments in a lot of different areas. I think back to you and I when we were in Springfield. I think Dick's was a sponsor of that tournament a number of years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So, all right,
sure.
Yeah, big shout out to Dick's Sporting Goods, although they do not sponsor our podcast.
Yeah,
but thank you, and we'll take it.
That's right.
All right, Double G, you've played some great golf, but you're so busy outside of golf, and let's catch up with a few of those things because it seems like you always have something exciting going on.
Yeah, we got the Double G Craft Jerky going. We're bringing on. We got Paul McBeth in the works. We're very excited. So, his flavor. We got McBeast barbecue, and we have Paul's bag. So all these disc golf.
Hold up, Double G. We're gonna just. You did great because I think you probably set the phone down, which we always encourage. But I'm wondering if maybe there's an echo that's creating and looping back in.
Can you turn your phone sideways?
If you turned your phone sideways, I think it'll auto probably. Nope. No, maybe not.
My phone's been doing. Sorry.
No. It's all good. I'm just worried that your audio is looping back in and it's cutting yourself out. I knew where you're going with all that, but I want to make sure the world can hear it. That's all.
So we'll take you holding the phone if it's better audio for you. So that's fine.
As tired as your arms are going to get, we appreciate it. And normally we say, put the phone down. Okay, so we're going to start over because you're talking about Double G Craft Jerky. You've got a new flavor. Start there, and then we'll carry into the rest of what you were saying.
You muted yourself though.
No, it sounds like you might have muted yourself somehow. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
All right, cool. Oh, I hear it again. You hear it on your end?
No, you sound good on our end.
Okay, I'm gonna stick. Yeah, we got barbecue, and we have Paul's. They're dropping on our site, and all the benefits are Paul Best Foundation. We're gonna try to build more courses, help kids get disc golf along with Children's Foundation. So we're really just together with our foundation for the disc golf, and I couldn't do it with a person golf Paul Best for a long time. And I'm glad to have him on board. Super excited that we're in the right.
All right. That was unfortunately because we want to do you justice. Unfortunately, that didn't come through fully for most people. Can you, if you're holding? All right.
Well, no, that's fine. Do that. No.
Just hold. Try and hold the phone normal, like you were.
That's
you were good.
No, hold it sideways. Watch this.
Oh, Johnny's got tricks. Hold on. We're going to see. We can. Oh, there we go.
See, look at that. Go ahead and talk now, Double G.
Let's see if we can get you now.
I don't know if this is any better, but.
Is that better?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think we nailed it. I think when you set the phone down, it was just creating an echo back
and
with your own
out
voice.
Some of your own audio. So go ahead. Yeah.
All right.
This looks great. We got this.
Awesome.
All right. We're going to start from the top.
So Paul Macbeth Foundation.
We have Paul Macbeth tomorrow on the 7th. We have McBeast Best Max Weight. So the max weight of around based on a 6 ounce. And McBeast bar got to choose his. Is it happening again?
It is, and we.
All right.
We'll have to catch it.
No, send him the link.
Oh, we're gonna try one more.
Double G.
We want this to be
Terry.
We're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna send you a link on Facebook.
We're gonna hang up from Skype because we
hang
hate
up
Skype.
on Skype. Yep, and we're gonna send you a link right now.
Click the link, and it'll be better. I promise. We'll be right back with Double G.
Guys.
We'll be right back.
I promise. I'm done with Skype, Terry.
I'm gonna fire you.
Deanne was fine.
Yeah, she was better. Yeah. All right. I mean, if this is
this is the solution, Terry. I tell you.
We apologize to anyone that's listening or watching live. We're gonna do what we can. You know, we just need everybody to be rolling around with fiber connections everywhere. I mean, that's all we really need.
Yeah. Well,
right. Then we wouldn't have a problem. So it's not the internet here.
The problem is, especially on phones, and as other people have noticed, without headphones, there tends to be an echo, and there's echo cancellation. And so when Skype will hear your own voice, it'll recognize it. It'll try to block it out, which unfortunately causes problems. So we are just going to be using this solution.
All right.
Like this. Watch this.
Make this work. All right, now we're going to see
Welcome to the show, Double G.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Sound phenomenal.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
No, thank you, Double G. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for everyone that's out watching. As Johnny's just saying, this may be the new permanent solution for us.
We're done with Skype.
You've got a ton of good stuff going on. We're going to take it from the top. What are you working on, Double G?
Yes, Double G Craft Jerky. We're in the works with working with Paul Macbeth and the Paul Macbeth Foundation. We're trying to generate as much funds to create more opportunities in disc golf and disc golf life, as if it's kids getting into disc golf, teaching kids at schools, if it's bringing disc golf to Mexico, just like Paul did. We're gonna work on this together for a long time and try to grow the sport as far as we can take it. And through our foundations and through sales through Jerky, I think we can put ourselves in a good place for both of us to make really good decisions for disc golf. The Double G Craft Jerky already bought in over 20 kids PDGA memberships to help kids get involved with the game that might not be that much involved in the money wise. So we're trying to help out families in need that really have some kids that want to play disc golf and get them thrilled up to have a pro pay for their sponsorship fee or their membership fee. And we just hope a little bit goes a long ways, and that's all we ask for. Is if anyone has any donations, they're more than welcome to. It'll go to a great cause. So we appreciate each and everybody for helping out. And we got some new flavors coming to the table, and Paul Macbeth picked out a series of flavors that he liked, and he narrowed it down to one or two, we should say. And his new flavor is going to be the McBeast barbecue. And you can get those in the 2.5 ounce bags, the 1 ounce sample size bags. And also he has the Paul Macbeth max weight bag, which is a 6 ounce bag, close to 180 grams in weight, which is like a max weight disc. And it was kind of catchy. He kind of came up with the name too. So we like it a lot, and we're excited to have him on board and work together and grow the sport.
That's awesome.
Now, of course, you're doing good stuff. Macbeth Foundation's doing good stuff. Where do you guys find that overlap as to projects or initiatives and what you guys are trying to do? Because I mean, it's almost a good thing that we have competing charities in a sense. Or are you not competing? Like, how do you find that overlap, or where you guys like intertwine and are helping one another?
Yeah, we're just, like I said, we put a little upcharge on the Paul Macbeth's jerky, just I want to say 39.49 to kind of help his foundation grow off of this, as long as with mine, because with our foundation, we started off saying from each sale, a portion of each sale will go towards the Double G Children's Foundation. So we're still keeping that promised, and we're charging a little bit more. We made Paul's bag a little bit more fancy. He wanted the gold bag to make it all sparkly, and so it costs just a touch more. But we'll do what we need to do for Paul, and Paul's a great guy. And I mean, like I said, it's just one person that we'd love to work with. He's brought the disc golf level to where it's at now. I mean, without him, probably half the viewers wouldn't be watching at home. So, like I said, he's bringing a lot to the table for Double G Craft Jerky, and we hope to do the same for the Paul Macbeth Foundation.
Now, you say he's a great guy, and yeah, and he wins and stuff, but he sounds kind of high maintenance. I mean, let's just
a gold bag.
Yeah,
really?
Come on.
I mean, me and Paul traveled for a little while, and I mean, high maintenance is to say the least. He's a super duper guy, and he is great, and he knows what he's talking about most of the time. So we're gonna give him what he wants, and why not?
That sounds awfully.
Not next week though. Don't give him anything he wants next week.
Yeah,
you take it from him.
There you go. I like the way you're talking, Johnny. I love it.
Well, that's really exciting, and I don't know if you're soliciting marketing advice, but when we were talking about you, I had a little check-in with my 10-year-old daughter last night. We went live on Facebook for a few minutes, and when I showed her the bag of jerky, she immediately thought that I was somehow promoting or pitching Tide Pods, and she saw the orange and the blue. And I said the hint was that you've eaten this before, and she said Tide Pods. So,
and were you scared at that point?
So I mean, I said no, those are some Florida colors and whatnot. But she did bring a whole new perspective. I don't think you want Tide Pod flavored jerky, but your color scheme's there.
No, we're gonna have to skip that.
Those are gator colors.
I know. So also something I've been promoting, and then Deanne was just teasing me about it unintentionally. You've got a new flavor of your own besides the Macbeth collaborations. You're also have just released your 5th flavor. You don't need to sell me on it, but sell everybody else on it.
The Smash Crack Pepper is something everyone needs. If they like hot, think Hot Boom is hot for them. You need to go with the Smash Crack Pepper, and they'll be hooked forever. I promise. It's just they have some things in it. It's like unbelievable flavors. It's very, very good. Right now, I'm really torn between the garlic lovers and the Smash Crack Pepper. I think if those two conjoined and had a flavor within its flavor, we're going party time for sure all day. A lot of people say they've been teriyaki and the Hot Boom together as well. So if you haven't tried the Smash Crack Pepper, try the teriyaki and the Hot Boom sauce together. And people say it levels out the heat a little bit for them if it's a little too much.
Okay.
You're known on tour as kind of a grill master. Mm-hmm. Have you used your beef jerky in anything you've cooked as like a topping, as like on top of a burger or anything? I mean, a lot of people put bacon on burgers. I could see a really, a nice spicy beef jerky on top of a burger.
We did Oaxaca beef jerky tacos this year.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we did that. Tree Love guys. It was late at night. We were watching disc golf. I want to say we were watching one of Terry's videos, and right after, they were all hungry, all the guys. We probably had 12 guys staying with us in Texas, and I want to say it was like 18 people at the Airbnb, and our buddy starts breaking out the the wraps and making taco shells. Sorry, and making some Oaxaca cheese. He put the beef jerky on top of the cheese on top of the on the pan, and man, it was just delicious. I didn't really see myself ever doing something like this, but it was their idea. I said, all right, let's try it so I can see for myself. Oaxaca cheese and garlic lovers beef jerky goes together just fine.
Wow, jeez, I sense a whole new show besides just the disc golf theatrics and all the amazement and the entertainment you provide. I see a whole whole series of shows that need to spin off from this.
Yep, we've been lining them up our sleeves a little bit. We haven't been letting them out of the bag too much, but we'll chat in Utah here in a couple days and see if we can get something rolling there, Terry.
All right, I love it. I love it. Dare I ask, how many other flavors do you see coming down the line, or do you see other collaborations with other, superstars within our sport? What's kind of the long-term plan there?
Yeah, we plan on working with others. We kind of want to do some tour series like for players, and not necessarily has to be disc golf involved. We want to help the right people. I mean, we want to help the right direction. We want to help foundations. So, like I said, we got a couple people that are lined up. I'm not going to let those out of the bag yet, but we do have some people lined up that are going to be receiving some flavors in the future. Can't really say the timeline, but obviously more flavors will come as time goes by. But we're trying to set it up with about 5 core flavors for a little while. Then after this goes through, and things start settling down, because it's been super busy lately answering emails, and my 2 business partners that's been on the ball on everything. So I want to thank Ted and Jim for being there for me and teaching me along the way. They're great guys, and I couldn't have better teachers that are really helping me through all this. So hats off to them, and for them it wouldn't really be possible for Double G Craft Jerky.
It sounds like it's been a pretty good relationship. I mean, we've seen other things like in the past 20 years, we've always seen someone kind of dip into disc golf and maybe it doesn't work out, but it seems like this has really taken off. They're pretty happy with the results, and you as well?
Absolutely. I couldn't be more thrilled, really. I mean, the support from the disc golfers have been amazing, and just the amount of people that have been wanting to get it in players packages for their tournaments because there might be a lack of disc shortage right now. It's always been a counter offer. I know J Ray from DD, he's been getting some jerky from me from time to time to fulfill his players packages. So the NADGT, we sponsor them, and they have it as an add-on for if you want to grab a bag of jerky on your way to check out for the tournament. It makes you click yes, no, or what flavors you want. So I really want to thank the NADGT for me sponsoring them and them sponsoring me back for doing that for me. That's been huge. And like I said, the support's been unreal. I couldn't be more happy, Johnny, that disc golf is taking me here, and like I said, sky's the limit from here, and I have something to fall back on if I ever retire, or when I retire, if I ever get injured from disc golf.
Well, beef jerky is such a great snack to have on the course. I mean, because you don't want, I'm sorry, Deanne, but we're not going to be able to eat a lot of cupcakes. You can't. It's hard to carry those in your bag. Beef jerky,
right.
That's an easy snack.
I do want to say, the past few. Oh, first of all, congrats to Deanne for her win on her first big win. She's been eating some jerky from me as well. I did. I was on the. I was listening to the show, and I heard her talking about it. And Smash Crack Pepper was her favorite. So, along with that being said, Adam Hammis is another big fan of Double G Craft Jerky. The past three weeks, he's bought over 30 bags of jerky from me to have on board for whenever they play and when they travel, him and Jeff Corns. And they bought nothing but Smash Crack Pepper from me. So for them is the reason why I was all sold out the last couple weeks of the Smash Crack Pepper. So I'm going to say about 20% of that win from Adam for both tournaments was from me. So
totally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Adam will tell you too.
Yeah, I wouldn't even ask him. I would just assume that at least 20% of those wins have come from the Double G
He
Jerky
may have
love.
lost 5 feet on the sidearm, but he got an extra 50 on his back.
Wow. Yeah, that's all you need then. So people are asking, you know, obviously disc golf is fully embracing it, tournaments, pro shops, a lot of people vending it and offering it. Are you guys pursuing other retail outlets or stores, or right now has it been like basically specific to disc golf? Have you had a chance? Is that a tough? I mean, I'm sure it's tough to try and get into a grocery store chain or a 7-Eleven chain or any of those bigger retail outlets. But is that something you guys are trying to pursue?
As of right now, no. Right
Okay.
now, we're trying to focus on the disc golf world. Only saying that because, for instance, we got an email from one big gas station, and they're like, yeah, we'd be interested. We want to see price points. And also, would you be able to supply 400 stores at one time? And no, we're not ready for that yet. The company we're working with now actually had to hire some more people to keep up with our ramping,
Sure.
our efforts, and have been amazing from all our wholesalers to get their orders in. And I've been calling them back, and I've been nothing but great positive feedback. Like I said, the only negative feedback I've been getting is, when's your next flavor coming out? So, this is why I wanted to get on the Smashbox and tell the whole world that's listening, the new flavors are here, So
This
I'm
sounds
gonna
like
get
an
it.
opportunity for
I'm gonna
Shark Tank, Terry.
guys.
I mean, all right, Double G, you've given me all
Let's
the
go.
numbers. 20,000 for 8% of your company, right? Is that how it works? I don't know. Is that what they do in Shark Tank?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, we're done. Sold.
We need to buy in. We need a piece of this.
We need some of the Double G action.
Darren,
Yep.
I know it's tough to keep up with production and even just keep all the disc golfers and the disc golf community happy. But are there other products on the horizon that are edible products? I mean, are you looking at any other snack mixtures or anything else?
Sunflower seeds, peanuts.
Yeah, I mean,
Of course. I mean, we don't want to let too many hats out of the, tricks out of the bag, but
okay.
we do have a couple things lined up. I'm a big fan of peanut butter filled pretzels, so we might be getting some peanut butter filled pretzels on the tour. Something good for the bag that isn't going to melt in your bag. I'm trying to focus on snacks that are really good, that aren't going to melt, that will last a round or two, or a bag of beef jerky has a year shelf life.
Okay.
So along with that, we got some pretty good shelf life items that can stay in the bag in case you need a snack when you get hungry out on the course. So maybe some trail mix along the ways and some kind of nuts, but we won't go too far. We're gonna stick with jerky and maybe a couple other things for right now.
I definitely want Double G's nuts.
I've pitched salty nuts to Steve Rico more than a number of times, and that guy has somehow not pulled the trigger. But I like hot peanuts, so
All right.
hot,
Well,
salty, whatever.
I'm gonna take that in consideration because I love me some heat peanuts too. So Terry, we might have a Smashbox like heat peanuts coming soon or something like that.
Yeah,
We're here for it.
We'll definitely have
We are
to
here for
continue these conversations. All right,
Yeah,
Double G, we love all of the entrepreneurial stuff. At the end of the day, though, you also throw disc pretty damn well. So give us just a quick insight into 2021 Pro Worlds, just 7 days away. What are some of your thoughts?
Some of my thoughts are get out there, go practice. I'm here now. We got some holes in out at the fort already. It's blazing out there, but like I said, that can't stop me. I'm from Florida, so the heat's kind of my thing, and with it being a little bit drier here, it's not so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's 100 plus for the days, if we're 100 in Florida, it's going to be a lot hotter there than here in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to get acclimated. We walked some trails today to kind of just go out in the sun and get hot because we know it's going to be like that this weekend, and we're just trying to enjoy our time, get some putting reps in, get all that kind of practice in, and I would really like to say I'm ready, and like I said, no one's ever really ready for a world championship because they don't really know it's coming. So I'd really like to sleep hard and, like I said, get good rest for the week, get some good food. Maybe I'm going to be cooking some homemade shepherd's pie. That's one of our family dishes that I really like to have before an event if I have an open kitchen to cook in. So we're staying at a friend named Preston's here in town of Ogden. So we're going to cook them some shepherd's pie tomorrow night and hopefully have some good fuel for this week. And if not, I'll always have the bag of jerky to pull out during the round.
You can never complain about a backup bag of jerky. Sounds like the way to go. If you were to get...
You don't know how many road trips I've gone with this guy where we stop for gas, he runs in and he comes out with a bag of jerky of some sort. For years he has done that.
Yep.
Hey, well, I can put a stop to that for you, John.
You have, because now he'll open up his bag. Like when he comes in, he'll put his bag down, open up, and I'll see a little double G beef jerky in there.
Guilty as charged. Got to support you, and of course it tastes good. So it's a double win for all of our disc golfers out there. We get to support you, foundations and organizations that you're tied to, and then it tastes good. Again, you can't go wrong there. However, now I gotta sidetrack over to the baked goods. If you had your choice of any Deanne baked goods, anything specific that jumps out at you, or something you might be craving, or you're holding out for her to make?
I'm a big brownie fan. I mean, not all the time, but if I do have a baked good, brownie's probably my go-to. So Deanne, I'm challenging you to a brownie off.
This might be the make or break question of the evening, though. Brownies with or without nuts?
Woo, man. I'm going to go with nuts.
All right, cut him loose.
Done. See
I'm
you
not
later.
supporting that foundation. That's it.
Okay,
all right. No, that's all right. I think the same question can get asked sometimes of fudge, whether you go with fudge, nuts, or nuts. No. And, come on, let's keep it pure here. All right, we're through and through. All right, Double G. Any other exciting news or announcements you need to share with everybody here tonight? Is that all you got for now? Till after you win Worlds.
My niece became a safety patrol. I got to give her a shout out. I haven't seen her in probably 9 months. So she was excited to FaceTime me yesterday and tell me all about her safety patrol. So I miss my family back home. I'll see you guys soon. I might be stopping in at Am Worlds, flying in to represent the Double G Craft Jerky and Innova Champion Discs. So if you're there at the Am Worlds and you're tuned in now, be looking for Double G and Jessica Weiss. We should be there and having fun and checking out some play and walking around with a big bag of beef jerky.
All right, the new 6-ouncer. Got to get it.
Like a 2-pounder. Just a satchel of beef jerky is what I want to see him walking around with.
Oh, John.
I could see it. I'd be happy with that.
You're gonna get mugged. Somebody's gonna tackle you. Be like, give me that jerky. All right, Double G. Well, we love you, buddy. Everybody loves your infectious smile and spirit out there. We're looking forward to that carrying into the World Championships, of course. Best of luck to Jessica as well over on the FPO side. I'll be seeing you in a couple days. Excited to be in Ogden and excited to see your quest for the World Championship title, my friend.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks, John. Y'all come hunt me down for some jerky. I'm saving you guys some.
All right.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks back on the show.
Which means you won.
Which means you won Worlds.
All right.
2 weeks.
I'll be there.
All right.
All right. We love it.
Love it.
All right. Have a good night, Double G.
Good night, pal.
See you, buddy. All right. Double G bringing it tonight.
There was I don't know if it was a poll or a question on Dixon Jowers on the box page, and someone was like, other than I think the top 4 players of your Paul, Ricky, Eagle, and I think it was Calvin or something, who would you want to see win Worlds? That guy right there, Double G. He has that infectious spirit and just always a smile, and he's one of those guys that's really, I mean, there's a lot of guys out there, but he's really earned his time on the road. Like, he's been out there for a long time, and I would love, to see a Double G World Championship personally.
Yeah, he's been grinding, as you said, and such a fun guy to be around, and rarely have you ever seen him upset, and he's always got a smile on his face, and just a true sportsman through and through. And yeah, it certainly would be exciting. Something else, as I'm thinking about Double G and his longevity, just for giggles, I was on the PDGA website today for the Worlds, and I think by default, as of right now, until groups are assigned for first round, it's sorted by PDGA number. And looking at the PDGA numbers, I was honestly quite shocked to see what they're at in terms of who's there and the longevity of some of our players. And then just by stupid habit, I looked at where my number would be clearly not by rating, but by number, where it would be in the mixture of the World Championships. You want to guess where my number would rate among, and who's there that's lower than me?
Well, I haven't clicked on it yet. I was just about to go click on it. Your number is 10738.
Yep.
I'm going to guess that you would be third.
Ooh, that's a little generous.
Third. Okay.
That's a little generous. One Steve Rico.
Yep, I thought of Rico. I thought maybe of a Johnny McRae.
Who's just a few hundred lower than me, but he's actually... You got Steve Rico, excuse me.
Oh, so yeah.
You forgot about... You didn't think about Barry Schultz being a Grandmasters age player.
I didn't think about him playing. I didn't realize Avery was going to play. I didn't realize Avery Jenkins was signed up. I know his number is lower than yours. So.
Yep. Avery, and then Simon Lizotte, of course... all due to the being international and all. Johnny McRae, as we mentioned, just a few hundred lower than me. And then just 110 lower than me, even though I'm older than him by like 368 days. One Steve Brinster. Steve Brinster is 10.628.
Let's be honest, Simon's cheating.
Exactly.
He got the 8,000 numbers because he is over in Europe, and they had a designated set of numbers. I can't, that might as well be 800,000. That's what I'm saying.
Steve Brinster, and then next. So interestingly enough, though, Steve Rico, of course, Masters age. Barry Schultz, GM age. Avery Jenkins, Masters age. Simon Lizotte, of course, not. Johnny McRae, Masters age, and then Steve Brinster, Master age. So all of them, and myself included. I mean, I guess I'm just pointing out that we're all old.
I'd be 11th.
Yeah, and then yourself, and then we see Nico LaCastro, Dave Felberg, who's of course Masters age, and then Double G. So. I don't know why that it always interests me just to look, and really I think one of the things that jumps off the page the most at me though is Steve Rico competing as well. I mean, again, look at all these Masters age players that absolutely have a chance and then some to take this thing down.
They can double up, which is great, Masters and Pro Worlds. And my understanding, this particular set of courses isn't going to heavily favor a crusher, because the Fort, while it has distance, it's not like what we've seen over the last few weeks at some of these golf courses where you really need a lot. And we've seen mulligans. It really hasn't changed much. Now, it is a slightly longer course, but it's not outrageous. So I think a lot of these guys probably have been looking at this and thinking that this is one I can possibly get. If Barry plays his,
the game he's capable of.
The game he's capable of. I would have to say he'd have to play almost perfect to beat some of these guys, just based on some of the things. Barry could take this down. Stevie could take it down. McRae, Lizotte, clearly Lizotte, any of these guys, Brinster. They're all capable out on these courses.
And we know we had Jay Redding on the show last week. He's of course competing, as we also saw that Des is on the FPO side. So exciting that we're seeing, with this being earlier in the year, as you just said, some players are going to be able to double up, play in a Pro Worlds, and then go to a Pro Masters Worlds a few months later in August. So very, very exciting. And I don't want to say I'd lose it, because I wouldn't, but it would be unbelievable to see someone stack up both back-to-back wins in a single year. Your McRae, your Schultz, any one of those Masters players I just mentioned, win it and then go take down the Masters World title. I think that would be awesome. And I think back to a number of years ago, Phil Arthur winning in Masters Worlds, and then the next year he came back to compete in the Open. That's when they were all in the same week, so you really had to choose one or the other division. Phil Arthur did not come back and take down the MPO the next year, but what an incredible goal to win a Masters World title, and then a year older you come back and go after an MPO title. So
for the record, someone had said I think Mulligan's is going to be an advantage for the Bombers. Mulligan's is 7,989 feet total, which gives you a little bit of idea. The Fort, 8,373 feet, longer, more wooded, but longer. I don't know, man. We've seen these courses played before, and I mean, clearly having distance helps anytime, because whether it's you're throwing distance for if you can club down, so to speak, if you're not throwing a distance driver, if you can throw a fairway driver or something like that, that helps you out, or even club down a little further when some people are throwing fairways and you're throwing a mid. But man, it's I don't think that's going to be the defining factor of this event, that the person who can just constantly crush discs.
I also do want to point out, and I'm glad we caught it and somebody else made a mention of it, because it did throw me off for a moment. Dave Greenwell, PDGA 962, and Jerry Goff, Jerdog, 2423 or 2431.
Oh, God.
They're both in the B pool, and that's why it initially didn't come up that way.
Oh, yes, two more.
I saw that. I did see, because I was thinking, like, Jerdog, I just talked to him 2 nights ago, and he said he was playing, so it was weird to not see him in front of Steve Rico's name, because his number is 2431. But yes, Dave Greenwell and Jerdog will also be there with their even lower PDGA numbers, so that's pretty exciting.
No one's beaten Greenwell. No one's getting
a lower number.
A lower number than Greenwell.
Certainly not. And since we'll go with the parody of this conversation on the FPO side, maybe no surprises here, especially if you've been watching over the last few weeks. We see Juliana Korver. Her PDGA number is 7438. All right, 7438. Jennifer Allen, 15354. Des Redding, 15863, and then KK, Christy King, who some of you have gotten to know a little bit better, more so if you're not from the West Coast, PDGA 27725. So just to throw all that out there, Kona Panis 27832, and then Paige Pierce. So although Paige, like Juliana, going for her 6th world title, she certainly is far from the lowest PDGA number out there. Some of you care nothing about that, and I understand some people for many years have said, who cares what your PDGA number is? To me, a PDGA number is, there's a lot of things that it ties to, but number one, it just ties to your overall longevity in the sport. And so it does provide somewhat of a timestamp to who you are. You can, yeah, I'll leave it there.
Probably best.
It's probably best. Luke Butch, thank you so much for jumping in on the super chat. We see that, and as also Dust Esports, thank you for as well jumping on. I honestly thought our super chat was broken. I had checked in with the YouTube help desk, and they're like, no, it doesn't appear that it is. It's just not being utilized. And then Dust clarified that for us, so we appreciate that. Luke says that Simon taking down worlds, you heard it here first. Well, I don't know if you'd be the first to say it, but if you're taking wagers, you heard it here first. I'll wager with you. Okay. Wow, and some of the PDGA numbers coming in right now. People like Daniel with 103-123. So
I feel like it kind of got overshadowed this weekend, but there was a major.
Yes.
That happened. It was an amateur major. The 2021 PDGA United States Amateur Disc Golf Championship. That's over in Milford. Is that at the Toboggan?
The slightly redesigned and also recently added cement T-pad Toboggan.
Oh, well, I mean, if that's slightly redesigned, I mean, this doesn't even count then, does it? No, just kidding. Congratulations to Robert Burridge, who wins this one with a 14 under par. I know that doesn't mean a lot right now to most people. He bested the field by 7 strokes. He shot 1043, 1022, 1022. and won the event.
Wire to wire.
Wire to wire. That's right. He shot a 56 on the first round. He was the best by 3 strokes there. And then he had the second best round 2, and he had the second best round 3, but winning it wire to wire, Robert Burridge. Congratulations to your new as a major champion. Second place, Gillis McDougall. Tied for third, Harry Chase and Luke Taylor. And tied for fifth, Kyle Lees and Sheldon Shin. So those are the names, inevitably, that we will probably see on tour, or at least regionally, over the next probably 2 to 3 years. You'll probably start to see these guys pop up, and they'll be more commonly referred to, is my guess.
Also a name, I'll just throw it out there, as a gentleman that I covered in some action a few weeks ago now, down at Huck Central. I had the chance to put out some coverage of Evan Scott. So seeing him finish in the top 7 also does not surprise me. Unfortunately, a lot of the other gentlemen I don't know nearly as well, but I do know that I had covered Evan Scott, and so seeing him perform well at a major, on a challenging course, again, no surprise. All right. Anything else in PDGA news? Oh, yeah, I got something. Well, you look, I will say, I have had the pleasure. I teamed up, and maybe I touched on this last week, but I did team up with the PDGA, and I'm going through with all of our PDGA candidates, our board of director candidates. There are 8 of them, and I was given, thankfully, a set of questions, and I'm going through with each of them and reading off essentially the exact same questions. I know this was done last year, and then I'm going to put them all together in individual videos that will be released on my YouTube page, and people can go out and then get to know all of these candidates a little bit better. I think we're also going to release an audio-only version, so if you don't want to look at my face, I don't blame you. You can save yourself the bandwidth, and you could download it and listen to it in an audio-only format. But all 8 candidates I'm hoping to talk to, I've already got 4 of them in the can, as they say, and I believe I have 2 or 3 more lined up in the next few days. I want to get them all done before Worlds, ideally, and that will be another avenue. And so you can read their platform statements. A number of them created additional videos when they were putting in their initial platform statements, and they were announced they were running. Certainly encourage you to watch and consume all of that. This is just another opportunity for you to get a little more insight to these individuals. And again, 7 out of the 8 questions are identical for them, so you can kind of compare and contrast what you like hearing from each of these people. So just thanks to the PDGA, I think any way we can put out more information, and if this is maybe the easiest or laziest way for you to consume it, then it's still doing its job. I'm going to put them all in a playlist. The PDGA will link to them. I'll link to them, and then you'll be able to go out and you can even speed it up, put it in 1.5 or 2.0 speed, and you'll be able to burn through all of their answers. So just wanted to put that out there. Super excited to be part of that. So thank you to the PDGA, and glad to team up with you on that.
Tim has a great idea to have your daughters interview them. Just, I mean, you really want to get to know somebody. Let's have Allie and Kenzie drop some interview nuggets on them.
That's not a bad idea. Last night, and what he's specifically referencing is last night, after I'd done one of these interviews with one of the individuals, one of the board candidates, the streaming setup was all ready to go at the house. So me and Mackenzie went live randomly on Facebook for what turned into 20 minutes. She entertained a few people with some of her responses, and it may have been Tim. I don't want this to get awkward, but I think Tim was the one that in fact suggested that Mackenzie replaces you.
Mackenzie has more energy and is more creative than both of us put together, probably.
That's very true. Yes.
She is the nicest way. She's a wild child, and I mean that in the best way.
Yeah. I hope she's enjoying her sleepover as we speak right now. I'm that might be madness when I get home.
Some other PDGA news. The PDGA is hiring a digital marketing specialist.
Oh, I'm going to apply.
You should, Terry.
Get away from this.
They will be taking over websites, email marketing, and social media. So you'll be responsible for maintaining content on PDGA.com, and are going to oversee Google Ad Manager, work with marketing, media, and membership teams to deliver accurate and engaging content. Basically, you need to eat, sleep, and breathe, grow the game. So it sounds like, maybe the PDGA is trying to step up their online game a little bit. So if you're interested in that, by all means, if you give that a holler. The other thing is 2021 Worlds registration reminder. It starts next week, guys. No, I'm just kidding. This is for AM Worlds, Pro Masters, and Junior Worlds. This Wednesday, you can register for those upcoming events if you haven't already, I believe. This is for 2021 events, not 2022, 2021. So
good call.
If you still want to get in on that, you can do that. So that's all that information is out on pdga.com.
Also, as a reminder to me, it was sent the other day that the PDGA is also hiring an events coordinator. So you can find that on PDGA. The ideal candidate will bring fresh ideas, unbridled energy and passion, and a collective spirit to help us serve tournament directors, local organizing committees,
Sounds
and
like they
many
want a horse.
competitive PDGA members who will take part in PDGA Elite and major events in 2021. So you can find that as well, and applications will be accepted until June 30th, 2021, with a projected start date of no later than August 1st. So that is also available. Johnny, I've said it countless times. When we found the game, your options to work in disc golf were typically you could pack some boxes at one of the companies, maybe, but they only needed a few of those people. Wow, and that was that, or maybe some other job that you could possibly weasel yourself into at a manufacturer. Maybe. And there was only a couple of them. Now we have
there's
dozens.
Hundreds.
I was going to say dozens of media positions alone. Yeah. Just in media. I mean, if you're a great photographer, video photog, videographer, whatever, editor, social media. I mean, there's just countless things just within media, and then all the other actual positions at manufacturers. They've had to expand in all of their operations, from logistics to running whether it be a stamp machine or boxes or fulfillment, whatever the case might be. It's crazy how many jobs there are in disc golf and at our governing body as well, and of course the Pro Tour and so on and so forth. It's crazy.
It truly is.
Somebody come take our jobs so we don't have to do them.
Please. But still pay me, please.
Oh, okay. Okay. You got anything else there, Johnny, before we head into the after show?
I don't.
All right. I don't think I do either, but I think it's been an incredible night talking to two super duper people. Of course, we got to thank Deann Carey. Congratulations to her again on her Resistance Open victory. Of course, congratulations as well to Adam Hammes doing some work out there. It's all because of Double G and the craft jerky that he's providing, as we've learned.
Well, he got the Smashbox bump, and then he got the, what was it called, the Smash Pepper bump.
Correct, Smash Pepper.
I mean, ultimately, it's all about the Smash.
Yeah, and I love Smash out of Norway. That is the best candy ever produced.
Doesn't get any
bugles with chocolate.
Yeah,
come on, Smash. That's where it's at. All my Norwegians know what's up. All right, guys. Double G, we love you and appreciate you as well. Again, congratulations to you, Deanne, and looking forward to the World Championships taking place next week. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, this has been Smashbox Podcast 354. We'll see you in just a few moments. We've got giveaways. We've got Worlds Prep. We've got Smash. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 354's
After Show. You're not gonna join?
You got it.
Okay.
I was letting you go solo. I want you to shine like the star that you are, Johnny.
Oh, I know. My wife. Reason why a longer break between there is I ran upstairs to use the restroom and grab some water, and I run through the kitchen and I hear like something singing. I'm like, what are you watching? She's like, oh, I'm watching In the Heights. I'm like, did you have to pay for that? She's like, no, it was on our HBO Max account. I'm like, oh, we get it free with our AT&T fiber connection here. I was like, oh, okay. I have no interest in watching that. She's like, okay, that's fine.
What's it? What's the quick premise?
It's a musical, clearly. It is
clearly.
Well, I told you they were singing and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
That's why. That's
thought
why
maybe you just heard some form of singing. I didn't immediately assume it was a. Okay, go on.
And I'll say this: you are clearly out of the loop in that. And In the Heights is a very, very popular musical / play. Oh no, it was on Broadway a few years ago.
Really?
Yes. So it was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Okay. Yep.
Same guy who did Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's very popular right now.
Did it do well? Because like I've been in like New York
Broadway.
City and on Broadway.
Yeah, I believe so.
A half a dozen times.
Yeah. Emily Garner said she saw it on Broadway in 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then
Carney says musical. I'm out.
I guess I wonder when it ended, and I could do a quick Google search.
Won a Tony.
It maybe had ended then entirely before I'd ever stepped into New York City, which my first time wasn't until, I don't know, 2012 or 14, whenever it was. I was going to say, because I've been there a half dozen times, and it doesn't even ring a bell.
Sure.
So that it just must have been before my time.
No, and that's fine. It's relatively, and it's gotten a lot more popular over the last year because it's been a long time coming as a movie. My understanding is I've seen something. I saw Ella Hansen said she saw it and she loved it. She's been waiting for it forever. That was on her social media. So, but anyway, she was watching that, and I just kind of was like, cool. I have no interest in that. Hamilton was fine. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
I do like musicals, but that one just for whatever reason didn't seem to spark anything in me. So In the Heights. So yeah.
Okay, well, let me read something because it was brought to my attention, and I saw it in one place, and it definitely sounds worth sharing. Chuck Spikeheiser Conley, of course, putting on a ton of events. I know he works with Mike Barnett, and he works solo, but he put on an event, and he said he had someone drop from this weekend, and he thought he'd share his dropout email with me. He just thought it was funny, and I concur. So someone had written in and said, I'm writing this email to regrettably inform whom it may concern that I am dropping out of the Charlotte Amateur Championships due to my psychological state and the rawness of my loins. I believe it best we part ways at this junction. I know all will be disheartened, for parting is such sweet sorrow. In my stead, I hope to give some of the other novice players a chance to shine brighter than they had ever imagined, seeing as I was the front runner and a heavily favored to hoist the trophy. But alas, I digress. It is with heavy heart and sore crotch that I bid you adieu and wish you all the best of luck this weekend. Sincerely, from the back of the card. So
that's a great dropout email. I mean, if you're going to get an email that says like I can't make it.
Or just a flat out lie. They see that it's raining. It's forecasted for rain for the 2 days you're supposed to play, and instead you then give some BS reason that we all know. We just know that you're a whiny player that doesn't enjoy playing in the rain, and you think that your excuse will be better than just saying you're withdrawing. Yeah, I'll chalk this one up in the good side. So nice work over at the Charlotte Amateur Championships.
I hate playing in the rain.
I
don't think anyone likes it. Some people.
Scott Weathers does.
Scott Weathers likes it, really? I was going to say, some people are better than others at it. I feel like I'm prepared. Sure. I just still don't like it. It's not
understandable.
It's not my favorite thing to play in the rain. It just kind of, I would prefer not to.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Ray asked during the regular show, because I know I talked about it last week, how my tournament went this past weekend. It was.
Why did we skipped over those results?
Yeah, because they were not worth posting. It was a true two sides of the coin. We played 2 rounds. One round, this is up at the Wilderness in Montello, Wisconsin.
Not a paid ad.
Not a paid ad. Great course, by the way. Pat Blake, who designed that, great piece of land, and he did phenomenal things with it. First round is off the long pads to short baskets. It's probably about a 5,500, 6,000 foot course, maybe. I'm not. I know I'm not. I'm trying to think about how far it was. Most holes were right around 300 feet. I shot a 950 rated round. You know, that's I haven't played in a long time. I walked off that course extremely happy. I think I missed 1 putt inside the circle. I hit like 2 or 3 outside the circle. So I was ecstatic about that. And I was in like 5th place. I think 5th place going in. Was like only 2 strokes out of second or something along those lines. So I was pretty ecstatic. Then we went to the long course, which basically every hole goes from about 300 to about 530 feet. It's a 9,000 plus foot course. I shot like an 880 rated round. I could not control my drivers. It was very difficult not knowing my bag because I haven't really thrown a lot of drivers beforehand in a long time, to be honest. Most of the courses I play around here, I barely have to pull out a driver for hardly anything, and not having things in sync with my drive when I tried to lay into a hole was not working out well in that course because there's no give. If you're off the fairway, you're off the fairway. You're probably taking a bogey. It's, like I said, heavily wooded, still very rough around the edges and spots. I've got the scratches to prove it on my legs where I got into a few thorny situations. But it was the situation where I would try to throw right down the center of the fairway and I'd fluff it and it would hyzer out and end up bad. So the next shot I'd be like, oh, well, clearly I need to throw that harder because I need to flip it up. And I'd shank it to the right because timing was off, or I'd just flip it over too much. I just couldn't get it under control. I should have just gone right back to the fairways or the mids. But either way, I played very poorly, and it was all around game. It wasn't just my driving. Even when I got in the circle that second round, I couldn't seem to hit anything. I don't think we didn't use UDisc. We used PDGA, so I would have kept my UDisc stats. But I don't know if that second round I even hit a putt inside the circle, short of drop-ins, whether it was 20 feet or 30 feet. It was not a pretty round, and I still had a load of fun. So shout out to all the players I got to play with.
Could someone have you could have a 0% C1X, couldn't you?
Sure.
In theory.
Yeah. And I might have. I'm trying, literally I was trying to think of a putt I hit inside the circle, and I was rolling it through my brain, and the round was kind of blah, and I started the last 5 or 6 holes, the scores didn't matter so much to me, so I kind of was having a little bit more fun and throwing a little harder and trying just 1 or 2 little different things. But I was trying to think of a putt I hit inside the circle and I couldn't. That's how bad it was. It just, everything kind of rolled down, and yeah, anything. I don't know if I hit anything outside of 12 feet. It's overrated. Yeah, which was not me. I was not overrated. I was very much underrated to what my rating was. The only positive spin I could put on it is I think because of this, my rating will probably drop a few points, and I'll be able to go back into the Am Masters where I belong and not have to play Pro Masters.
There's a
silver lining, my friend.
Yeah, silver sneaker lining,
yeah.
If anything. All right.
So that's the update on the Wilderness Open. Congratulations.
When's the vlog dropping? That's what they want to know.
Gosh, I didn't film.
Should have recorded it all.
Shout out to Zach Kobus, who I got to play with first round for MP40, who shot a 1050 rated round. He lit up the course. I think I shot a 4 under par. It's a par 62 or 63, I think. And he shot 14. I played on my card.
On a 20-hole layout.
On a 20-hole layout. He shot 14. I shot 4 and was happy with what I walked off with a 950. He shot 10 better than me and shot 100 points better than me as well. His was a 1050 rated round. So it was a pleasure to watch. He was just lights out from everywhere. It didn't matter. He hit a bunch of outside the circle, and he didn't miss one inside the circle. So it was fun. It was a good round. He ended up winning the event by 7, I think, 7 or 8. So good event. Well run. Kevin Renders, and just a good thing. The biggest, saddest thing of the entire weekend was at some point during the second round, I lost my metal mini that I've
Oh,
had.
geez.
I've
The
had for,
purple
like,
one?
The purple one I've had for like 20 years. Not quite 20, but probably 15 years. And I don't know how, if it fell out of a pocket or because at one point I wasn't using a mini very often because when you're off the fairway, you don't need to mark
underneath the
things.
basket.
Exactly. So I asked if anyone had found it, and I told Kevin about it because they were having an event there the next day as well, but I did not hear anything. So alas, if you're out at Wilderness and you find a metal purple mini with a nice scratch at the top, it's this guy's.
Yeah,
I'll give you a little reward if you can return if I get it back.
wow.
So
Okay.
just but it was good. It's the one event I'll probably play this year. I unless I can squeeze something in the fall, but with the DGN broadcasts we have, and the ones that we're finding out about as the year still goes, it's very, very difficult to squeeze an event. So it was just a pleasure to play. I got to hang out with some of my good friends, Stevie Held and Scotty Tuhati. We had dinner afterwards and just caught up. It was a good time.
I like it.
It's playing events is fun.
Overrated.
Well, that too, but it's fun as well.
I think in that note, I would like to find at least one or two available. They're probably not going to be weekends because we just don't have any.
One day events.
One day or Friday type events or something that I would be interested in running some flex starts or getting some other crazy events going on. I like playing. I also very much miss running tournaments. So even just hearing about events here locally sometimes gets that going for me. So I am looking forward to getting out there. I'll see you guys this weekend. I'll see some of you out in Utah. I know Rob, who's been on the board here tonight. Rob, I know you and the crew have been doing an incredible amount of work. I'm excited to see the fort as I have not yet seen it. It was in its roughest of rough infancy stages when we were there for the 2019 Utah Open. I think some people went over and looked at it maybe initially, but maybe even 2018. I'm sorry, I might be confusing my years here, but I know that it's come a long way, and a lot of people have talked about just how incredible it looks. I'm excited to see what the challenge is. What did you say for footage a little while ago? 8,000 and something
for
the distance at
Wilderness?
No, at the fort.
Oh, the fort. Yeah, it's like 8,500
Okay.
or 8,300 at the fort. I think I had up.
Okay,
like
so super excited to take a look at it. I think we talked about it. Well, we briefly touched on Emerson Keith taking down the Utah Open this weekend and over Ricky Wysocki, and then Paige Pierce reigned over Katrina Allen today. Oh, quick side note, and then I want to say hi to Rob again. Yes, he's saying 2018. 2018 Utah Open was when that conversation was happening. Galactic Conqueror has a small-minded idea, and I don't think that would help you probably anyway. So here today I was digging around for something in terms of footage, and I've said this before. 2015, 2016 is where I started getting really serious about organizing and really backing up and protecting a lot of the data and a lot of the coverage that I've shot throughout all the years. You also see a progression, hopefully, in camera work as well. Here's one thing that I did find today.
Okay.
And this is the first time I've seen it or touched it in probably almost 7 years. I found my copies of the 2014 Paul Macbeth, Ricky Wysocki playoff footage.
Ooh.
Which is significant for the fact I never edited it together. I never put my own version of that in an edited sequence. The Worlds wrapped up that evening on a Saturday. Everybody went out that night, which was incredible. I have some very fun and wild pictures from going out that night.
Was I there?
You were not there?
I couldn't remember. No.
Nope, you were not.
No, I was not at that event. No.
And I have footage that I ended up releasing from like the FPO finals, I think the Masters finals, so many things. But I never put it together because the very next day, Marty McFly So High, filming for Prodigy at the time, he had put together the next day footage and he had it already out. And at that point, I was like, well, it's this incredible playoff, but it's already out. And I was like, I'm in no hurry to do it.
Oh, the hindsight.
Well, maybe not. Like, I still don't even know if I regret that I haven't done it. I will now assemble it at some point, but it's just crazy because now so many of you have seen the playoff through what was then pretty much that lens, Marty's lens. And obviously I wasn't necessarily standing next to him. I had different angles and in different, just filming overall. It was kind of, I just kind of quickly flipped through a number. I got a post-round interview with Paul that I did end up posting, but it was really surreal to go through the footage because it was foreign to me because I've only seen it how Marty had edited his together, and that's of course gone on to be such iconic footage and such an incredible playoff. But to see it, my work out of my camera, it was really kind of weird because one of the major instances was on hole 2. Spoiler: there was a playoff on hole 2. Paul Macbeth was lining up a putt. He has to hit this 35-footer, 35-footer, and Will Schustrick was sitting directly behind where Paul was, and you see Will and the whole crowd get up and they run off. But before he does that, you see Schustrick, clear as day, mouth, "Wow." And that was because it was shot from from the other side from where I was standing. So I didn't have that exact same angle. So I was actually just a few inches from where Paul was when he put that putt up. So it just was really cool to kind of go back and to look at it and to see a few of those highlights or to see if all the shots of which I had from that playoff. And at some point, someday, maybe I'll put it together. But I'm glad I have it, and I'm glad I have my own version. And it was a trip down memory lane to footage that has never been released. It was kind of cool.
Well, I look forward to seeing it at some point.
Maybe not.
No, you'll put it out at some point.
Maybe on the 40-year anniversary of those two.
NFT, Terry.
I know. I thought about that. I honestly did, especially thinking like this has never been seen before. From my camera. Obviously, it's been out there. So, all right. I'm going to read through a few of the things, and then I think we're going to reach out to Dion Arlen. And here's the problem. I don't want to encourage too many people because I don't want them to get the idea, well, if we just hound them long enough, they're gonna bring us on. But we're gonna get to him in a moment.
Dion is a regular. He's been on a few times in our after show.
I guess we could call him that.
He's almost to the Yuli level. He's getting there.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll get back to some of the comments in a moment. But for now, I think we're gonna bring him in the show. One Dion Arlen. Whoop whoop. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing well, fellas. How are you?
Great.
We are doing we're doing pretty good. The tour and all of disc golf were all eyes in the Pacific Northwest for the last couple of weeks. What does that conjure up for you coming from that area as well?
Sure. I was super proud to see the courses. Well, obviously Glendevere being a new layout, I have not had the opportunity to play there. Trojan, I've had a lot of fond memories. I was the inaugural Oregon State champion on that layout, and then I think Nate and Scotty beat me the subsequent 14 times I played against them there.
Roughly.
Give or take a year or two.
Give or
a few
take
of those attempts. But it was super great. Wish I could have played in either of those events. Decided to rest up, spend some time at home with family, and get ready for Worlds. I'll actually get to go out to Utah and see you guys there and compete and spread the Statmando word.
Let's start with Worlds performances. We've seen, and for maybe some who don't know you somehow, you have a long resume of playing a lot of golf, and you've dipped off of the tour scene, so to speak, but give us some of either your fondest memories and or finishes at a World Championships.
Yeah, probably most folks on here have no idea who I am. They're wondering why are we talking to this loser? Why does he keep coming on this show? 14-time loser. I'll give you the highlights. For those who don't know, I toured actively, committed to the road life in 2011. Prior to that was playing, 50 of 52 weekends at Northwest for 2009, 2010. My best Worlds finish was at the 2011 Santa Cruz Worlds. I took, I believe, 20th place, and was as high as I think third card going into the finals, and had a rough round at Pinto Lake. I think was the one that I underperformed at. But other top finishes for me would be USDGC in 2009, my first year playing. I took 14th, was on chase card for the final round. That was a career moment for me personally, a lot of pride in that. And 2010 world champion in distance throwing. So I'd say those are probably my top acolytes for those who don't know. And now I'm a dad, I work in fintech, and pretend to still be relevant in disc golf.
That's what we do.
Yeah. We should start a support group. Looking as we pull up I pull up some of your stats here, your PDGA 24781. So again, just like I said earlier, it doesn't, of course, necessarily indicate how good someone is. But there is still a timestamp to your rating or to your PDGA number to put that all in perspective. You're currently rated 1,019, and it says that you've got 38 wins in 204 events. So you've done some work.
That's right, yeah, and it was actually kind of fun this past off season. There was a great league put on by John Anderson, other Discraft Underground member, at a golf course called Delphi. Great little course. Played 7 or 8 consecutive weeks. Really had a good consistent practice schedule. Came out, won the first couple events I played this year, and it turns out when you practice and play consistently, you're actually better than when you don't play except for weekend tournaments. So I got up to 1029 rated, and then I dipped in the last few months as we ended up actually just buying a home and doing some other things in life. But when I play, I can actually be good. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like you're a very good painter. I'm looking at the back.
Yeah,
it looks like I did it because I couldn't reach the ceiling.
Like, oh, Terry got to the top and he was done. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Terry, sorry, we forgot the step stool for you.
Yep.
We just moved in. Yeah, bought a home, first-time home buyer. Very, very excited. This past year's brought on a ton of change. One of the things maybe we'll get to if you guys allow it. I chose not to run for the board this year. There's a little bit of a story there, but otherwise, new job, new home, lots of exciting life milestones for myself, and then obviously this other project I kept nagging you guys about to come on and promote.
Your cameos on How I Met Your Mother, that project?
Yeah, that's right. Season 9, let's go.
All right. So you have been working on some stuff, and fully to your credit, and so the whole world knows, you have been in a good way, almost relentless in trying to be helpful to so many people within disc golf media, and I feel bad that we don't have more ways to fully embrace some of the ideas and some of the thoughts that you've brought about. So with that, you've said, all right, I'm sick of waiting around for some of these clowns. I'm gonna move forward here with some of my great ideas, and that manifests into what?
Exactly. So that's Statmando, and that's the working title of the project that I'm a part of. And you guys can actually go to the site. It's live now, statmando.com, and this, to me, I see a tremendous amount of upside and potential in it. I'm really excited to get feedback from the general audience for disc golf. But we did the thing that I always wanted to do, which was make the PDGA results database interactable and engaging. So the first module that we put on the site is a head-to-head matchup. I think earlier this year, you guys had me on. I talked about this being an idea that I was fond of. Shortly after that, I was posting some things on Twitter. A group of guys responded, and I rounded us up, put us on a Zoom call, and just a few short months later, we'd had this product live and ready for people to consume. So in this particular module, you can pick any 2 pro players that are in the drop-down menu. We kind of hovered around like the top 30-ish, MPO and FPO players. And if you select yourself. The 2 players, yeah, of course I had to put myself in there. perks of being the yeah. Well, it was actually kind of a control test because I had kept a lot of these stats for like me versus Nate, who helped coach me and get me to the skill level that I am. So I had always known like locally where I stood against Nate in tournaments in the Northwest. And that was kind of the bedrock for the idea, which is any two PDGA players being able to see how they stack up against each other, and you get to kind of form those fun rivalries. So this is a product that I would want the PDGA to consume long term, have something on their website that provides a bit more entertainment and engagement. In the short term, I think it's something that we can just prove value, that people care about this. People want to see the stats presented in a meaningful way. And so the team that I'm on, we extracted the results off the PDGA site, have our own database, and we can query it and come up with all sorts of cool and fun facts, which was what you saw the top cash earners on the Disc Golf Pro Tour broadcast over the weekend. Top cash earners in Oregon. That was something that we produced in just a few minutes of writing the SQL query to get that information.
So currently, you're not integrating into the PDGA API, which for those of you that don't know, API is kind of like it's like a backdoor to the database and such. But you guys are not integrating with that quite yet. This is your own database.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, we extracted the results, and we formed our own proprietary structure for our database and developed out our own. We're hosting our own, information and site. We went back to 2010. Prior to that, the cleanliness of the data is a bit preventative of putting it into a actable way. But I have talked with Pete at the PDGA and have some other ideas going with him. But if we are successful in this endeavor, we can be a sort of platform for consuming and engaging stats within disc golf. So obviously the PDGA results database being a key one, and then the hopefully long-term like dream vision, UDisc, hole by hole scoring, whatever sites generate stats. If we can aggregate and consume them, we can then present them in fun and interesting ways and develop our modules for people to play with and create more content opportunities and more legitimacy for the sport, seeing as we don't have a comparable baseballreference.com style site for our sport. We have information out there, but we're kind of hoping to centralize it in a way that's easy to consume.
Yeah, and maybe you just already touched on it. I was just wondering when you were going to get a cease and desist letter from the PDGA or anyone with regard to data, because that's obviously in jest, but is there a fine line as to where data, when it's available, how it's available, whose it is or isn't? Have you guys had to have some of those tough or awkward conversations, or not really?
Yeah, these are absolutely conversations we've had internally as a team. Obviously, we're at the front end of this endeavor, so no one has approached us or said, we don't do this otherwise. We're not looking to monetize this structure in any way that would be like, great, I get to quit my day job and just produce stats websites for a living. We want this to be overall benefit to the sport. So as those potential conversations come up, that's how we would approach it. Obviously, the PDGA is a not-for-profit governing body of our sport. The results are, in my opinion at least, public information. It's not something that is a perk of membership, that there is a particular outcome that's hidden behind a paywall. These are the results. You can go on the website and look at them at any time, and there's nothing to prevent somebody from just doing this work by hand in a spreadsheet, which is what I'd been doing for years. So we just made it more entertaining, engaging, interactive, and I hope if this proves value and the PDGA is interested, it's something that we could either integrate with them or provide the structure for them to just put on their website, so it's a benefit for players all around.
How many other stat geeks are out there like you?
Lots.
It's becoming a popular thing. If you follow us on Twitter, obviously PDGA Stats is an account that's gained a lot of popularity. We did a cool stat battle against them about a month ago, but it's all passion projects, right? It's people who either have an analytical background, stats or data background, or just spare time and are passionate about the game. There's obviously a void in our sport around this. UDisc was the first to fill that void in a meaningful way, and obviously we can see how successful they've become. But there's an unlimited amount of dimensions to stats and analysts, capacity. So, there are things that we do in our internal channel as I work with the other guys on Statmando, where we talk about, create your own ranking systems where you can assign point values to different tournaments, or a field strength, point value based on the number of players, number of 1,000 rated players, etc. The possibilities are endless, but there's currently no way to engage with them outside of the one-off, by hand or manual calculation. So our goal is just to make it consumable and let the imagination of the disc golf world run from there.
Yeah, and I immediately then get drawn to some of the other, I'll say, almost obvious conversations that follow, or where it leads. If we're gonna take the horse to the water, I think about things like Johnny, who's obviously worked on fantasy disc golf for a number of years now, or a decade or whatever.
Yep.
And then also this ties directly into the inevitable odds, Vegas betting, kind of scenario, the gambling, the full out gambling perspective, or initiative that then can follow, because clearly that's one of the number one hangups when people talk about how does this get integrated into Vegas and disc golf, and when can we do all that. The first thing people will tell us, and I've even talked to Vegas people, they're like, yeah, you need the stats, you need somebody to set the odds have to come from somewhere. Clearly we need some statistical analytics and some other things to back up how these lines and odds and everything is then placed and where the values come from. Will this potentially then be a tool or a resource that can then aid in those types of conversations?
Yeah, it certainly could be, and it really depends on what dimension of betting or odds are you looking to place. For example, after the Utah Open this past weekend, I did the Ricky versus Emerson comparison on the head-to-head module, and it occurred to me that Emerson had never beat Ricky for a win, right? So when Ricky's in the field, Emerson had never won that tournament. He'd beaten him, I think, 6 of the 42 times that they had played in the same event, but that was only because Ricky often slid back in the field. Actually, Waco was a really common tournament where Ricky was placing in the 5th to 10th place, and Emerson was getting those top 5 finishes. And this was the first time Emerson beat Ricky for the win. So that's a watershed moment, and that's not a small thing to consider leading up to like a world championships, right? So no one would have known that otherwise. It occurred to me to look at that information and then kind of do that creativity where I go, wow, that's an interesting thing. And that just sparked like an entire thread of like, oh, how many other times has somebody been in the same field as a Paul McBeth, Ricky, kind of the stalwarts of the top finishers, and never beaten them for the win, compared to how many times have people in the field consistently beat them. I look at Calvin as kind of like the Paul Slayer, right? For about a year ago in some of those Florida tournaments, it seemed like Calvin could do no wrong when Paul was in the field. He really stepped up his game. This tool would give you the power to drive that analysis. So for making odds based on PDGA results, it certainly could be a powerful tool for that.
What should people, I don't know if there's a right way to ask it, in terms of what should people be trying to gain from this? I mean, I guess that comes down to their imagination as to, coming up with, something like you just said. I would have never maybe thought of that. Like, the thought would have just never even crossed my mind to put that together. Is there any... what kind of roadmap are you drawing, or is it choose your own adventure? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, so the bedrock of this is going to be again the PDGA results database as an example, or a data set for an example. So that is already consumed, and we have again our own tools to access that information. we want to put it out there in the world, and then we want the disc golf community to spend time in that space and come up with the things that are most interesting, right? So there's an unlimited set of stats that can be derived out of the results themselves, so I picked one that I thought was kind of compelling and in a use case to create engagement, choosing two players to put head to head. That was kind of a product choice to say, like, that's the first thing that we're going to produce. But just a simple career overview page, like that will be most likely the next thing that we publish on the site. And so right now, when you look at a player, and I know you guys do this on a weekly basis, you have to go year by year to look at all their events. There's no easy way to just show me all 200 events I've played in, show me the top cash, show me my win percentage, show me my caching streak, show me, all those things that get kind of tallied up and done by hand in Ultra World articles, etc. That will just be immediately available and consumable on the site, right? You'll go to Paul's page, you'll see all the sponsors, you'll see all the times he's appeared on Jomez, you'll see all the times that he's won, you'll see all the times he's won over $1,000. Whatever you want to do, whatever stat is meaningful to you, you can derive that and consume it and share it. That's the goal. And I suspect there'll be a heavy crowdsourcing element that will yield what disc golfers find most interesting.
How dummy proof will it be? And what I guess another way to word that would be, how user friendly. When somebody may think up a really amazing stat or idea, do you envision that almost anything you can think of, you're going to be able to go down and select drop downs, or is there going to be a little key for how to do a simple query? Like what kind of interface in that sense?
Yeah, of course. So as you can tell from the head-to-head module, it's very user-friendly. It's drop-downs, it's toggles for options, date range. That's going to be a pretty consistent feel throughout the site. The kind of player profile pages for those out there who consume stats for other sports like NBA. I'm a big NBA fan, but our team is a big fan of baseballreference.com and all of those other reference sites. Essentially, you have the metrics across the top. You've got the drop-down menu. There's some built-in visualizations. It's going to be very, click and sort friendly to get you to the type of information that you might be interested in. And then we'll obviously be looking to source, from the participating, audience, what interesting facts would you want to know, right? Because then we can query the database and create that fun fact stream of consumable content. How many times have Paige and Kat finished first and second in a tournament? We can produce that stat in a few minutes, and it's a lot. They've played in 100 and some odd tournaments together. I saw somebody noticed since 2010 they've got 36,000 strokes. They've played so much together. It's insane. It's quantifiable now that they are by far the most prolific competitors and the strongest rivalry in our sport in the last decade. They have almost 10,000 more strokes against each other than like a Paul and Ricky matchup. And so that's awesome, right? That's the kind of moments that we want to create, and it'll be very easy to derive that information.
Wow, awesome. Now, is there any, you mentioned a moment ago PDGA stats, is there any secret or anonymity behind them? Is that your wife in the other room? Like what is there any secret there?
I don't personally know who is behind that page. Our guy on our team's name is Evan Kearns. He runs our Twitter feed and reached out to him, and they've had some cool interactions and some back and forth on Twitter. He may have shared. I'm kind of terrible with names right now. I'm in a bunch of different circles and communities, and I'm just I've lost all name and face recognition. He may have shared who that was, so I might actually know if I go back and look at some of my group chats. But I couldn't tell you precisely who that is right now.
Okay. I've been nothing more than curious. PDGA stats, for instance, I know a few weeks ago, I think I saw Brody had said something about liking it or wanting it, or if it was good or something. And that's that was initially how I had seen something about it, and then I didn't know if that was because he had a tie to it, or maybe he knew something and then wanted to really just get it out there to his followers.
From what I can tell, though, that's just a Twitter. I don't think they have they don't have any sort of web interface like Statmando is doing for us.
Which is also interesting because just pulling up the Twitter, I do look at their logo, so to speak.
Is the U-disc 100%?
Yeah, is a U-disc reference with Circle 1, and now it's funny because is that just a U-disc reference or is that now a disc golf reference? It's crazy to me that, and really just a compliment, I think, to the Pro Tour and U-disc, that I was talking to somebody not too long ago. They've only been in the game for months. They haven't even been in the game for a year, and they're like rattling off C1, which is of course. Mm-hmm. Cool, but is also like, wow, how far have we come? And again, that's a compliment, I think, to U-disc and the Pro Tour, but crazy.
Absolutely, and our goal isn't necessarily to compete against those types of entities. Again, strategically, we want to sit at the platform layer, right? We just want to be there, aggregating stats and providing engagement for folks. Doesn't have to be flashy. Doesn't have to be super high production value like you get with kind of that U-disc interface or Disc Golf Pro Tour experience. So those are all phenomenal. We just want to create a place where people can enjoy the information around disc golf and use it in meaningful ways.
Has there been any talk with, we'll say, like DGN or Disc Golf Pro Tour about branding? Because I know we do a lot of stats, we do a lot of graphics during the broadcast. Mo and Gary now are creating these things. Is there any sort of talks about collaboration as far as providing stats for the broadcast? Because that would be yeah,
right. I mean,
yeah, we have, yeah. So you guys know Hans Anderton?
He does some of our social stuff, even though Johnny nor I have ever met him, but we hear him in our ear on a few phone calls.
Conference calls. Well, I know they've worked, but I'm saying an official collaboration. So.
Yeah, so we've approached that. I reached out to Jamie and had some great conversations with him, showed him the demo of the site, and this upcoming week at Worlds, I'd like to get in front of Jeff and do a little more demos and further that conversation. But it's a very small world, as you guys know. Hans is helping run the social media for Disc Golf Pro Tour and creating some of those exciting things. He's the lead developer for this site, along with Evan. Both of them actually built the whole thing. So, everybody already knows each other. I think it's just a matter of kind of letting the pieces fall into place, and however this shakes out, there's a lot of different ways it can go. I already know in my heart that this is an important and necessary component to our game. So Disc Golf Pro Tour would certainly be the right first vehicle to potentially consume some of these modules and license them and generate more excitement for their product through the use of this.
Well, I mean, you're here, so I might as well just ask it pretty bluntly. How mad will you be when I take your stats and I kind of maybe pass them off as if it's something I either knew or researched myself?
Everybody's going to know that you don't know that. Anyone that's ever listened to you.
Where does the credit need to come? Because my job is to sometimes appear that I'm smart or well-researched, and some days I cheat. So my question is, where does the credit need to be given?
Yeah, great question, Terry. And for us, it's the idea that we want to make it easy for everybody. So the content producers of the world, I would say, is a high target audience for us, because when you're trying to find compelling threads of information that might enhance the experience of the product that you're creating in that moment, like pages, odd and even year stats, right? We just tweeted that out today. So there you go, boom, you got one in the bank. You can share. She won $17,000 in average place of first across the 5 odd years events that she won, compared to the even years events, and all that information's out there. So use it, consume it. If you think to give credit, just give credit to Statmando and maybe shout out the website. But first and foremost, we just see this as a benefit to the sport. This is the type of legitimacy and engagement that's everyone's been craving, right? So feel free to shout us out, Statmando, but please just use the information first and foremost.
Whew, sounds like I'm off the hook. I think that's what I heard.
It's just one more screen you need to keep open now during broadcasts so you can reference.
That's true. No, I can appreciate that. And, clearly, like you said, a passion project. And these are things that you guys are finding interesting and compelling to you guys. And obviously there's others that will share in that. I think it will be the job of myself and some to interpret that to hopefully find, or even when you take the stat that you find, you share it, and then from there, it's providing that content like you mentioned. It sparks the interest, because let's be real, like Johnny and I, we're not creative. We rarely would be sitting around and thinking, oh man, I really wonder what, if Ricky's throwing forehands on Tuesdays, what's his birdie percentage?
Mm-hmm.
Like those aren't things I would.
Well, that's the type of stuff I'd be all right with. Creative artistry, no.
But you're usually not thinking of those things.
If I wanted to, I could. Yeah. I'm just saying. No, I'm looking at this. I have all these ideas in my head when I'm looking at like the page, like the matchup, and right now you can break it down by like all versus major series, DGBT, NT. I could see this getting into that baseball reference, not just head to head, but I want to see how they compete head to head on a course with SSA under 54, or
yes.
I want to see get even nitty gritty based on state, city, course. If we want to use something like this in the future to say, oh gosh, well, what was amazing was Cat was actually a little bit better than Paige on SSAs of 62 and above, or something strange like that. Those are the type of stats that I think they're really going to help improve. Not only, I mean, obviously we look at it from improve the broadcast, but just improve the knowledge of our sport, because we can all look at it and say, okay, cool, this year right now, Paige is better than Cat. But is that the case for the entire year? Is it the case for the beginning of the year? Is it the case for the middle of the year? Specific courses, specific styles of courses, specific lengths of holes. I mean, we might not be able to get that specific yet, but we'll at some point,
Yeah, that's exactly right, Johnny, and that's exactly the stuff that we talk about in our group as we kind of pour through the database and try to come up with what might be the next module that we put on the site for interaction. One of the modules that I think will help debunk a lot of myths out there and bring some much needed quantifiable evidence to the conversation is the role of payout in professional events. We've been using a payout calculator provided by the PDGA that's been relatively static since as long as I've been competing and running tournaments, which is almost 20 years. And I did a manual calculation of this, but I took the 2020 Disc Golf Pro Tour events and I applied a different set of standards for payout, and I wanted to see who was affected by that, right? Like if the winners got paid a lot and we only paid the top 20, what would that mean if last year it occurred under that model, right? How would that change somebody's outcomes? Some of the key takeaways was like Alex Russell never finished in the top 20 in Disc Golf Pro Tour last year. He would have had nothing for payout. And I go, gosh, that's a shame. He was the biggest loser in that version of the world. But I think, well, he was only losing $2,000, and that's not going to stop him from touring. So maybe we overvalue payout or undervalue it in certain ways, and there's never been any quantifiable way to measure that. So that might be a module you can expect on our site called a payout recast, where you get to create your own payout calculator and apply it to a set of events, and it will show you the before and after, or how it happened today versus how it could have happened under your world if you were in charge of the payout, and then allow you to make a case for why that might be better for the sport or different in some meaningful way.
Yeah, and that leads me right to a few other just overall arching thoughts that I don't think are fully addressable, and I'm sure this happens in all sports. I think of, as you were just mentioning, that we've seen the payout calculator and percentages slightly shift, in all of our time. From a 35, a hard 33% to a 35-ish to 40% to a 40 to 50%, again, depending on the division. that's kind of all been a shift throughout. We've also seen entry fees more than double, if not triple, for a lot of our events, and obviously there's an influence there. When somebody's winning the 40,000 this year, clearly they could have had just as dominant of a season 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and that 40,000 might have only been 28,000, whatever that number is. So there's another factor. And then this is really getting gritty, but I think about and how much it matters, I don't know, but I think about even the year in which we shifted from master's age being 35 to when they bumped it up to 40. That, again, was within my playing career. When we came into the game, masters was 35 and then 45 and 55, so on and so forth, and they actually moved that to 40. So you think about sometimes titles, and I have to assume every single major sport has somewhat redefined a statistic, or, I mean, we didn't have 2-point conversions in the NFL until, whatever year. So I understand sometimes things change, but those, maybe that's the pessimist in me. I start thinking about some of those really nitty gritty details that I don't know if we can ever fully account for, or address. But
there's always going to be outliers.
Yeah. And in my mind, it has to start somewhere. You have to, at least in my other world, my day job, data is king. Right, you generate results, and then you make a hypothesis, and then you measure it against the results, and you do that over and over. You iterate that over and over to find the most potentially successful outcome for your product or company, or for consumer benefit, whatever it may be. And that core premise is what I've been hoping to bring to the sport of disc golf in the past year. Why I wanted to run for the board last year. Why I chose not to this year, which is so I could pursue this project and bring it to fruition. I think it will do more good than me sitting in board meetings. So that's kind of the short answer there. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start capturing this information so that you have historical reference. We've done that. We've gone back to 2010. And now as we layer on more and more dimensions of this data, demographic information, payout information, whatever it might be, it's going to inform the decision makers as they continue to iterate those policies for the sport and make those changes. There will be some concrete data, not just the whims of a set of policymakers, to potentially back up those decisions, which I hope prove to be of tremendous value for our sport.
Yeah, certainly. And again, we all know that the more data that is even inputted, hence you're going to be able to that's that much more you can conceivably extract from it. And again, a very specific but random thing I just thought of is when you look at a UDisc and it tells you, at least during that given day, I don't know if it does, I'm going to look right now. So look at a UDisc and it now tells you what the wind conditions and or the temperature or the weather is just on the top of the UDisc page. And some of that stuff, which has clearly never been recorded, and we know that winds and all that stuff can change throughout a day and a weekend, but maybe at a slightly bigger level, I think about what Deanne was saying in our show about the humidity and North Carolina, and then you can naturally then say, okay, yeah, what is, a double G's winning percentage in certain humid zip codes or areas that are typically humid, or just parts of the country versus how does he perform in Minnesota or somewhere else much more, dry. Like those are. Yeah, I guess my mind does wander into some of those things. I just don't know if I would, unlike you guys, if I would ever sit around and be like, oh, yeah, let me think about some of these random scenarios. I leave that to much smarter people.
Well, it comes to you, Terry, when you're looking at the data. That's been the missing piece in my mind, right? Like I've always been very creative and analytical, and I've always had a lot of curiosity. But once I actually got some of this results in front of me, it just triggered thought after thought after thought after thought and spiraled into these really corner case kind of fun, nuggets of information that you would have never occurred to you unless you had spent the time in that spot. So I'm actually really excited to see the general audience consume this product and then come up with, basically will do my job for me. They'll say what they want to see from the stats, and then we'll just go build that.
So for the events, are you just pulling in majors, elites, DGPT, and NT? I mean, I'm looking at the results, and obviously I'm looking at Page versus Cat. So right now, that's most of them. But you get down to some of the other ones, and that's not necessarily the case. I think I saw like the the Alabama Disc Golf Championships. Actually, that probably wasn't NT that year, but and
yeah, we have all results in there, I believe, for the MPO and FPO divisions across. I think it might be limited to North America. There are a few things that you have to kind of sort through when you're extracting from like a PDGA site, the way that they code certain things or represent certain things. I think international events come across in a little bit of an odd way, and it's not 100% quality assured at this point. Again, a heavy crowdsourcing element there to keep us honest with the data, but that's just the nature of any time you work with data. It's never 100% clean. But if you use me, because I'm a good example of really active in the B tier and C tier scene in the early 2000s, you can see all the times that Nate and I battled in Oregon events leading up to the past few years when I've been able to make it out to A tiers and majors and such.
What has been, and call it a wish list, call it a full out gripe, or anything in between, what has been your biggest challenge when it comes to either when it comes to gathering? Has there been any significant challenge that you've found out there? How DNFs enter into your equations, like anything. I don't know what it would be, but is there any?
That's a great. No, Terry, you nailed it. That's a great call out. In the head-to-head module, we have kind of the stroke tally. Yeah, we have the stroke tally. And so when someone makes a final 9, which is really common in our sport, maybe less common now, you would see that the better player had more strokes, and that was a counterintuitive. And then you'd recognize that, they played, 800 more holes than the other person because of the, amount of finals and cuts that they had made. So that was a great, that was a learning moment. DNFs, the 999 versus the 888. I've been in the game a while, so I actually provide a lot of the historical context. I'll remember, right, as we're kind of working through the database, somebody will say, Evan or Hans will be like, this is a weird one. I saw 888, and that's weird. I go, oh yeah, that was because they informed the TD they would not be able to continue the event versus, dropping out. Weird little pocket cases like that do manifest themselves. So I help provide a little bit of context around those types of outcomes. X major, why USDGC wasn't ratings allowed or factored in ratings. Kind of those random corner cases we'll come across from time to time. No strong or heavy challenges actually getting the information, and it's amazing to me how easily this product came together because of the hard work of those guys. Again, from a tweet in January to a product that you can consume today, all with just kind of virtual, work meetings.
Wow, that's well, of course, I would be remiss to not say thank you right off the bat. I mean, it's incredible that
Terry, you shouldn't have.
Seriously, clearly taking something that you were passionate about. You cared how you fared against Nate Sexton, and then you whittled that into a in a mini and that you put under your pillow. I think that's cute, but the fact that you took the all of this time and the passion and just the foresight to then assemble it along with the entire team, and then to make it as this tool and this resource for the rest of the world, as you're saying, people will clearly latch on, and then their own creativity will probably help drive your continued development of it all. And I think that's certainly incredible. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, Terry. Yeah, and to clarify real quick, in the mini I made against Nate, that was just 1 year. The other years I actually formed quilts out of the T-shirts from the events that I beat him at. I sleep under that every night and have amazing dreams.
Of course, those T-shirts have his tears still on them of him crying of getting beat by you.
Yeah, of the awkward ride home because we travel together all those tournaments. Yeah,
you're like, hand me the player pack T-shirt. Oh, stop. You have to blow his nose in it. You're like, no, I'm putting that on the quilt.
You can wash that.
I'm
That's
sick of beating
you.
you.
So what's the? I don't want to say end game here because I think you already said you're hoping the PDG. But before that, what's the scope look like? I mean, right now you have the top 30 players. Are you planning on expanding that 60, 90? Are you planning, where maybe someone would be able to just type in a PDGA number?
Yeah, that's absolutely the end game for the head-to-head module. Any PDGA player, any PDGA tournament. That would be like, whew, we did it.
Yeah.
It's more than likely, due to resource constraints, that's never going to come to fruition in that version. I would say that the PDGA is more equipped to implement that particular module in that particular way, should they do a few things with their database. So if they like this and they want to do it, heck, I'm not going to stop them. But I suspect that this will be a resource-constrained, market-driven, module. So whatever people want to engage with, if we are able to line up some financing from entities like Disc Golf Pro Tour or retailers out there that want to have some draw on their particular website, those will be sort of the things that help get this rolling in a sustainable way. And then from there, as we grow the team, anything's possible.
Right.
I like it.
I love it.
I do have another potential hiccup or challenge. Maybe not.
Stop throwing monkey wrenches.
I know. Again, I think it's just the pessimist in me that
you are, honestly.
Is there a challenge when a player, I'll call him out, like a Nate Doss maybe, or Val Jenkins, is not current? Is there any challenge when their membership's not current, whether it's stuff you're researching or otherwise? Has that been a hurdle?
Yeah, once we get to kind of that player overview page, that is where we'd kind of expect to maybe have some challenges there. But the cool thing is we're actually consuming the results off of the way they're displayed on the results of the particular event itself. So like we have all of Nate Doss's finishes from that time frame because we've grabbed all of the events in that decade. So if he was in there and coded properly, which you kind of have to assume he is, then we are getting that and consuming it in our database. So as we explore more and try to pull in additional information, membership status could be a potentially limiting factor. It's the kind of thing where it doesn't make sense to me that because someone's not current, that their information isn't available to consume. I think that could be delineated in better ways. And if you're trying to say that access to that information is a perk of membership, then I think you could implement a login system to this type of PDGA sites that you have to log into to consume that particular set of information. But everybody in the PDGA who has ever competed in the PDGA, that information's always there. That's how I would set that up. So my hope is if a site like ours becomes more popular and people begin to wonder why the heck, so-and-so's not in the database because his membership's expired, maybe the market demand for that information will help encourage the PDGA to implement some changes along those ways.
Sure. Yeah, I know that's again a whole nother podcast probably for another day as to some of our legends, our greatest players, our world champions, so on and so forth. If they're not current, some people can't go into their specific player profile and be able to drill down.
Did the PDGA make it? I'm trying to remember. This flashed in my brain. If someone had passed away, that they would make their stats viewable. Do it. Okay.
I don't know if it's viewable, but I know that I believe there is some kind of notation. I mean, if you go to 001, if you go to Steady Ed, for instance, I believe there's at least a notation as to, and maybe Steady Ed's a bad example because he's an Eagle Club, listed as an Eagle Club member, but I believe there is some kind of notation that's made, at least in one of the search functions.
To me, I look at it as there's no value in not showing that information. The value is that those results or somebody's career is available to be seen and consumed. That is far more valuable than it being hidden in my mind. So to me, again, it's just a different set of values or maybe a different way of looking at things. That's the kind of thought process I was hoping to bring to the PDGA, maybe as a board member at some point. But calling it a limitation because their membership is expired and that's how the site's configured doesn't hack it in my book. I don't know if that's true or if that's the case. I'm just using that as an example.
You should hack it.
Clearly, yeah. Well, I am basically right now. But that's how I see things. I think the information needs to be proliferated. That's what we're trying to do.
Sure.
Which is funny because I'm looking at Val right now and her membership status says expired, but
yeah, and I
think have they recently made?
There was an odd conversation that took place, and I don't want to misspeak on anything because I only spit the truth on this show, but yeah, she was someone that came to mind because she is not, but she won the Women's Global as a non-current member, which is fine. You didn't have to be current to play in the Women's Global, but then yet it still shows up. So yeah, I was a little confused, and honestly, I don't know where everything stands now. I just know there's always been a lot of conversation around. Well,
and the funny part is, going along with that, I don't know why they do block membership when you're not a current member if they don't want to see. Let's just say it's the rating that is really kind of what everybody is thinking. Then you maybe hide that, but you can always go to the last event they were in, and it shows you what their rating was at the last event. I mean, there's always a way around, especially with the new PDGA. Like you can look at Val right now, and it says her rating is 961. And granted, she might be a unique situation because of this, but my understanding is that the rating for the event is what they were rated at that event. Correct? So yes. You could literally just try to find the last event that they played if you happen to know that, and bring it up to see what the rating was. So
yeah, and Johnny, I've worked behind the scenes in IT for another kind of nonprofits, credit unions in the financial space, and I think this is true of almost any organization, but maybe particularly true for nonprofits that are oftentimes resource constrained. And I've been guilty in the past of being hypercritical of these types of things, but what I imagined was somebody made a decision a long time ago that made sense in that moment. And they didn't think through the full ramifications of that decision, or at least they don't have the speed to change that decision in any meaningful way. It was set at the database level at that time to represent the easiest way of capturing your current versus not current membership, right? And to encourage renewals. And maybe in that moment in time, that was the best decision, and it helped generate more renewals because people wanted to see their stats. But we've clearly evolved past that need, and it's the pace of the organization, that restricts the ability to catch up there.
Ryan Pilcher is maybe along the lines of what I think I had heard. He said someone said that the PDGA World Champions have the PDGA stats show up now. So maybe that's the case. I mean, go to what 11794. Is that DOS?
I'm sorry. I'm in the event area.
Yeah, Nate Doss, where Nate Doss shows up as not current, and maybe you have to win at least 4. I don't know.
Ouch. Ouch.
I'm not sure. So again, I don't know. I mean, someone says PDGA should give all major winners Eagle status. I don't agree with that. I mean, anyway, there's a lot of different ways we could slice that up as well, with regard to if you should or shouldn't give ongoing membership renewal to somebody for winning any given event. I mean, Ricky Wysocki won Junior Worlds in 2010. At that point,
right.
He's a major winner. He's 16. Do we give him lifetime membership? And then because otherwise you're going to start determining, well, this major was worth more than that one because you're an amateur versus a pro, or you're age protected versus a junior, which is also age protected. I mean, you're opening a different can of worms at that point.
And this is exactly this is a very specific and nuanced case that is important to a lot of disc golfers, right? And I had a choice to make this year. I said I can either go try to be on the board and make a case for some of these things, or I can just go do this and make it obsolete.
Sure.
Right. So, I can go create a product that makes those types of decisions irrelevant. That's what I chose to put the energy towards.
So here is a question, because I am doing now the interviews with all of our board candidates that care to join me. If you were running for the board, and I know that was different time last year and everything else, let's pretend you are, and let's pretend you want to give us what would be your number one priority? And I'm just going with one. You might have 10, but what would be your number one priority of thing, either program or thing you'd like to have implemented, changed, fixed, developed, whatever? Give us one.
Yeah, I did some of this analysis last year, and I had a lot of those ideas, so people can go back and look at some of those interviews and videos and such. But in my mind, the area of the PDGA that I find myself most drawn towards is the conversion funnel. There are millions of people who play disc golf, and I like to say that in my lifetime I experienced let me tell you what disc golf is, and 1 out of 100 people in the room knew what I was talking about, right? To today, on a call with the CFO of a fintech in Israel, I shared what disc golf was, and they didn't know what it was, but they were kind enough to Google it. They immediately went to the PDGA site. They found me. They were like, "Oh wow, I Googled you," and "Oh, you used to compete. Wow, this is cool." And there was conversation and dialogue there. That person will probably never play disc golf, right? But it's such a different flavor of conversation than what it had been when I was an amateur and all I did was talk about disc golf. Actually, not much has changed there. That's kind of funny.
You mean he went to Statmando and he's like, "What? You could be?"
Yeah, that's right.
How convenient!
Not a good record against the Sexton guy. Who knew?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Or against this Paul Macbeth fella.
But we've seen disc golf become more and more and more part of the typical American experience. People have some concept of what it is when you say disc golf or frisbee golf. So there's millions of people who have played it casually. There's hundreds of thousands of people who have played it competitively or an organized version. There's only about 160-ish thousand, PDGA members who have taken the time to sign up, and there's about 70,000 active. Those ratios are terrible, right? If you are a business and you're trying to get a product to the people, and you knew that everyone in the country knew what your product was, and only 70,000 people consumed it, that would not last very long, right? So that's where, in my mind, I go, let's attack that conversion ratio, and the simplest, most direct solution to that I have come up with is a stronger club and affiliate program. That's the infrastructure of the organized disc golf scene. So however the PDGA can set the thousands of clubs that exist across the country up for success to grow player bases and convert casual to organized and competitive players, it doesn't even have to be competitive, but want to join the PDGA in some way, that's the front of the funnel. And if we can magnify that equates to more resources in the sport, which equates to an exponential growth, which equates to more success and hopefully enjoyment for everybody. That would be my number one.
All right. I like it. I think about the questions that I have been asking of our board members. Of course, it touches on a number of those topics and components that you just mentioned. And it's been great listening to some of these in-depth responses that I've been getting, because like you just said, some have aligned themselves, and then some people are on the opposite end of the spectrum with just a totally different perspective to how they're coming into it. And clearly, ultimately the members will choose, and then we'll see which direction it leads. But it's great hearing all the different perspectives. Conversion rate, that's a phrase to me. And even as you said, if all of these people know about your product or your service, whatever it might be, getting them to be either your customers or more involved, I immediately draw right to other sports that all three of us know about, but we have zero interest in potentially taking to the next level. And then I think about, well, why is that? Is that time, or is that interest, or is that finances, or whatever all the other reasons are? So that's where I wonder what a successful conversion rate number is. I mean, it's clearly somewhat subjective. I mean,
sure, yeah, but and it depends on what we want it to be. I think there's a lot of opportunity for disc golf to actually define what it wants to be. I picked on this earlier in the chat. I said grow the sport equals change the sport. And the same people who hashtag everything with grow the sport are also the same people who get really mad at Brodie Smith when he goes on rants about things that he would do differently. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's absurd, right? Growing the sport means change. And so I'm not here to begrudge anybody. I'd simply say, what do you want the sport to be?
Sure.
And maybe we can have dialogue around that in a constructive way. And there's so many untapped things about disc golf that, I mean, oh my gosh, the health benefits, the community benefits. I see stories daily of people saying how disc golf saved their life because they found a community, they found an outlet, and by God, I mean, in this pandemic where things are falling apart left and right and mental health is rapidly deteriorating, the fact that our sport can exist and be a bastion of hope for these people is incredible. So it's worth getting the word out there and improving that conversion rate. That would be my business term, so that people can experience the benefits of the game in a very significant way. That would be the narrative that I think is worth exploring.
I like it, and as much as I agree and embrace all of that, I also think about the clubs that are founded just to be the anti-PDGA, the anti-establishment, which obviously sounds like an oxymoron. Like, hey man, let's all bond together. We all really hate, this organization, or we're not those stuck up tournament players, but let's all get together, all 60 of us, this Saturday and go play a course. But we're anti-establishment, or we're anti organized stuffy tournament golfers. There's so many the irony there is not lost.
Yeah, it's tough to get a lot of anarchists on the same page. Yeah,
exactly. All right, Deann. Well, as always, it's incredibly enlightening talking to you. We appreciate all the insights. Do you have any parting shots, final words before we cut you loose tonight?
Big thank you for you guys for letting me pester you in the chat and bringing me on. I know I bully my way in sometimes, so thank you for letting me share that. And I'll be in Worlds next week, so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Hopefully you get to be there in person. I'm assuming you are, yes?
I will be. Johnny will not.
Pushing buttons back at the studio.
Remote Johnny?
Yeah,
always.
Gotcha. Yep. Well, I'll be excited just to spend some time with the disc golf family and enjoy the competition at Worlds. And thanks for having me on.
We love it, buddy. Thank you. You thankfully you raised the IQ here of our show, so we appreciate it.
I don't see that as a pull-down menu on Statmando. So player IQ.
Exactly, that should be in there. All right, buddy. Well, have a good night, and I look forward. I'll probably see you Saturday or Sunday sometime.
That sounds great. Thank you, guys.
See you later, pal.
See you, buddy. All right.
You had something else in the chat you wanted to go over, or should we?
No,
I actually have to Patreon this bad boy up.
Oh yeah, let's get at it.
So, let me pull that. I almost forgot. I was so integrated into Deon's talk.
Yes. Well, you get that up and running. I'm gonna recap, see if there's anything that jumped out at me in the chat. A lot of jerky talk, understandable. I think I've officially moved past that though, but keep that jerky train rolling. Ray had asked much earlier, if we saw the short documentary on Innova's channel about Philo. And with regard to him and the albatross, I did happen to catch that today. Thought it was really well done. I mean, of course, Philo, 100% charismatic, and we see Philo and you hear him, whether it's on a broadcast or on a post-production round, but the extra special moments for me have been interacting with Philo at some of the international events, and I could say that of local events, but it's even, again, that much more special when it's international. I spent was a roommate for a couple days in Taiwan, and I've seen him in Thailand and hung out with him. seen him in Croatia, where I spent an entire week as we were at this incredible event at the Drava Forester. And to see and to get to know Philo off the course is honestly, it's always such a treat and a pleasure. So I did not see it. I think Johnny had clicked on it earlier, showed a little bit, or there's a preview of whatever the newest Ricky release was. I have not seen that, but I am looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to, at some point on Sunday, I will be in Utah, and I will at that point be able to consume the Jomez Pro documentary with Eagle. Very much looking forward to that. Yeah, at some point it'll likely be Sunday night is when I'll be able to sit down. I know I got some other things going on, but excited to watch that. Of course, you can anticipate nothing but 200% and then some production value out of what Jomez has put together. So that should be good. I'm trusting it is. Let's put it this way: if it's not good, I'll be wildly disappointed and shocked because I'm anticipating it to be so good. You guys were talking about membership, so on and so forth. Dion out on the board, thank you so much. Cody says Emily is proud of her first team sponsorship. Stoked for her. We'll get that plug in there, Cody. Yes, I saw that. Emily is part of Upper Park. Ray says going to be lots of cool tweets and Reddit posts to spawn from it. Yes, there certainly will. And Disc Blaster goes with the cheaper model and suggestion of make PDGA memberships $20 and you'll increase the numbers enough to make more money.
Possibly.
Maybe. I mean, there's some other stats that have showed that our membership for the PDGA, I think Jay Redding maybe puts together some incredible stuff many board meetings ago, showing that our memberships at the $30, $50, and $75 levels are insanely cheap compared to other niche sport membership costs. And I thought that was
there's all sorts of thought processes. You could say they have a cheaper version of the membership, and then where you don't get the disc or you don't get certain benefits, you don't get something.
That's being talked about.
Yep. Or maybe your first year of a membership is really cheap to come in on, and maybe you don't get the perks, and then the second year when you do pay a full price, that's when you can get the perks just to get people in the door, so to speak.
Sure.
Like Dion was saying, the club affiliate programs that we have, maybe find a way to do to make those more appealing for some people, but who knows? Anyway.
Yeah, and those are certainly priorities and agenda items in part of the strategic plan that the PDGA has been looking into is various memberships and membership options. Look at, not that I'm worried about it, but look at someone like you or me. Let's say we play 1 or 0 events in the year, and not that we don't want to support the PDGA, but clearly we're coming at PDGA and our memberships differently than what some other people who might play 28 tournaments in a year. I want to be a current member. And again, I've said this, if my right arm, my dominant arm was cut off tomorrow, I would still pay for a PDGA membership every year for the rest of my life because I want to support the PDGA. I understand not everyone's a stupid diehard like that, but there are people that they simply run tournaments. They don't play in tournaments even. They run tournaments, or they're an assistant tournament director and they don't run, or they've been injured, or they know they're not going to play for a year because of a back surgery, but they still want to support the PDGA. Could or should there be another membership level for them? There's a lot of those scenarios, and I know they're very much looking into those. So just know that.
Sagilarius says, I play 1 event a year. There's literally no incentive for me to pay for a membership. Totally agree. I just said earlier today, I'm probably going to play 1 event this year. I signed up for the PDGA last year for 3 full years. The magazine I get, I don't take it out of the bag. I hand it to Terry because I know he collects that kind of stuff. He's a hoarder. And I know someday when he dies, I'm going to have to clean it up. I'm going to be like, oh, look, it's all my magazines. Great. Again, like Terry was saying, it's not necessarily the perks for us. There are other reasons to support the PDGA in general. But other than supporting the PDGA, you can support Smashbox TV.
Give me that money so I can pay the PDGA membership.
You can do it for cheaper than the PDGA.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Just a
for
dollar a month?
That's $12.
Holy
Or
cow.
you could do $2 a month.
Get some jerky?
And you're still cheaper than the PDGA. You could do $3 a month. Then you're probably not going to be cheaper than the lowest PDGA membership. But still, 36 or whatever. Either way, we have options here. You can be a Smashbox TV member, a Patreon supporter of ours. And you can do so by going to patreon.com/SmashboxTV. Different levels of support out there. But ultimately, what it gets you is it gets you the weekly drawing that we do weekly.
Well, I mean,
that's why we call it the weekly drawing. It's done.
It'd
weekly.
be weird if it was otherwise.
No, we don't always. I mean, we miss a week here and there, but shh.
Yes.
And then we make up for it by doing 2 like we did last week. So we are ready here with our list of 200 people eligible for our weekly giveaway. We're going to give away a disc this week. Terry Miller. How should I sort it? That's the first question.
I mean, I would sort it head to head for people coming in.
Ooh, let's see. Does Statmando have that? They don't.
Statmando.
I'm going to go Ted Tracy versus Cy Spencer. Let's see who.
Go head to head.
Go head to head.
In random.org. Yeah, that is a good question. How should you? I think you should sort it by largest overall contributions, like the running
top to
total.
Bottom.
Yeah, the running total of overall contributions to us here at Smashbox. So
sounds good.
The higher up on the list, the closer to 0, or closer to 1, that the number is, the larger the contributor has been. And there's some amazing people out there.
These are my best friends, by the way. These are the ones that get Christmas
I like them
cards
the
from
most.
All right. We have
200, you said?
200 people eligible.
Man, that number hasn't grown in a while. We are not doing a good job.
Yeah, well, you know.
Just saying.
We don't push it a lot.
Here is, I think you should go with the second number then.
The second number. All right. So our first number is 83. Our second number is
number 1.
95.
All right. Someone right in the middle of their now they could be with us for the last 5 years, or they could have just signed up last year and then put forth a whole bunch at a time. But overall contribution,
Stephen Sylvain. Stephen Sylvain.
I like it. That is also a name that I don't think we've ever pulled or rewarded.
Yeah, maybe it's Stephen. It's Stephen. So it could be Stephen. I usually go Stephen, but either way, congratulations, Mr. Sylvain or Mrs. Sylvain. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't judge. Whatever. All right. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Johnny is going to send an email to me at least, and or them, unless your address is right there. I sent out a couple more. If you're still waiting on something, don't hesitate to reach out.
He does have his address in here, which is great.
Look at that. Let's just hope that it's current. Also, you forgot to announce not Federico.
Sorry, not Federico Sorensen.
However, his package is on the way. So very much. What's his overall contribution? I don't want to share that.
Sorry.
But we do appreciate them all. Let's check his taxes.
Did he claim that on tax? Is that a taxable donation?
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Well, if we could come up with some, for the few people that I know this might help or impact, I, of course, am leaving for the World Championships in a few days. So if you are, not only for discs that I'd love to get out to you, if you are still owed one or more, nobody should be owed more than one. But also, if anyone is looking to pick up some more of the cartons of my disc in a box, I would love to get those out. Otherwise, I'm going to have to rely on my 10 and 12-year-olds to pack those up. And they'll do it, but then I got to pay them, and then I lose out on money. So if you are trying to order 100 of my disc in a box shipping containers, certainly reach out to me. I'd love to get them all packed up and shipped out to you in the next couple of days before heading out, even though this is the after show, so some of you won't even hear that until I'm already in Utah. Either way, if you need them, reach out. I put some on eBay. Kind of a side note. I haven't posted anything to eBay in 5-ish years. eBay, I think I had 1,500 sales at one point and was very, very, very active on eBay. In fact, when my first child was being born, I remember thinking, hey,
how much is she worth?
No, I remember thinking, that's great that this child might be born in a few minutes or in a few hours, but I need to pack up this one more box, or there's one more. I was still putting them in padded envelopes at the time. I need to pack up this disc and drop it off on the post office on the way. So quick shipping is what I try to get done for you guys. Federico in the house.
Federico in the house. Fantastic. I do have a podcast recommendation if anyone is interested.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I tweeted this as well as I put it on our Discord. World's Greatest Con. It is it's only going to be a 3-episode, my understanding is, and they already released the first 2 story. Maybe it's going to be 4 episodes because I think they said they might do like a Q&A, but of what it's going to be hopefully a yearly series, or maybe even twice a year, of some of the greatest cons in history. And the first one they started out with was
Madoff?
Nope, Operation Mincemeat. It was a con that the U.S. government pulled during World War II against the Germans. So,
are these all common ones that they're like digging more into and letting us know about?
Probably.
Okay. So like Bernie Madoff could be in there.
It could be,
for instance.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, the first season kind of just dropped, and I think the 3rd episode will be out in a few days. So I already listened to the first 2. Very good. I can't wait. I'm going to actually probably listen to them again with my family on the way back from Door County this weekend or something. So good stuff.
Okay. As soon as we hang up, as soon as we close down, I'll think about something else that I had for you, but I can't think of it now. So I think with that, we've done the giveaway. That's what we know you were here for. It was either the giveaway, the free stuff in the giveaway, or Dion. I mean, that's the only reason everybody tunes in every week. And tonight we provided both. So happy belated birthday also to Tony Boyko.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. In all seriousness, thank you as well to Dion for giving us some more insight information. I genuinely knew nothing of the behind the scenes as to what was going on. So getting that full scoop and update, I'm excited to dig around on that site and take his tweets, take them out of context, or take them out of the the writing in which they're in, reword them as if they were my own, and appear to be smart. But I don't know if that'll still help.
No.
Or help enough. Probably not.
Probably not.
Until,
you're going to screw it up.
Until I transpose one of the statistics.
Yeah, you're going to.
And I'm like, instead of 92% wins, he's actually has 8% wins or something.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't know. I thought they were good, but apparently Kenny really didn't dominate. I don't know. All right, guys, for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, looking forward to Worlds coverage all of next week.
We're going to have to figure out next week as far as what our schedule is. I assume we'll be here next Tuesday, but there's maybe a slight chance it gets pushed to Wednesday or something like that based on
we'll see how.
Broadcast schedules and stuff like that, because the MPO and FPO will be a split broadcast. FPO in the morning, MPO in the afternoon. Or I say morning, but it's probably going to be closer to like noon and then 3 or 4. So just so everybody knows, in the off chance that things go late on broadcast night or broadcast day, we'll figure it out. We'll let everybody know via social medias.
There you go. For Johnny, myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, and Statmando, Dion, and crew over there, thank you guys for joining us. This has been Podcast 354's After Show. We'll see you next week from the Worlds when you step inside the Smashbox.